Get 'em Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting empty up the crack and we stacking chips. All of it's what I want, plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Friday, January 26th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Perky making a huge move on Wisconsin money line. Sammy Comer, Aussie Open, Medvedev, Sinner, set 1 over 10.5 games plus 242. Look at the action. It's flying in. Joe T, best bet, Iona Siena over 139. I hope you guys are following what Joe T is doing here in our chat. It's just monstrous and extremely impressive. Just handing out best bet winners over and over again. Sammy Comer says Mark Andrews officially active. It's already gone to 4. We have talked about the game. The Chiefs backers have a lot of fervor. The Ravens backers just have statistics and analysis. We'll see how this bangs out. I can't wait. I can't wait for Sunday. So we'll be live for both games and NFL Pub Hub at 12 p.m. So I'll be sitting in this chair on with you guys on camera for 10 hours on Sunday, ready to rock with a bottle of Jameson. So I'm excited. Viper and B in the house. Beal over 19.5 points, -108. He's running nice. Miles Turner also running nice right now. 20 points in his last game when he had to step up against Embiid. And Pelicans money line for Vipe in NBA. Yesterday was difficult. It was one of those. It's one of those sleepless nights, and then it's so tight. The line between a successful night and a negative cash night is so sharp. And good God, losing the Senators in overtime. My overtime record is just horrific. It's going to even out, and I'm going to go on a run in NHL. And the Islanders, caught up after that 5-minute penalty on Gallagher and then lost it with 2 minutes left. I don't lament that one because, we were fortunate to come back, but the overtime loss was a huge swing. But I have a winning night if Herter hits 2 foul shots to close out the game. He's 82% foul line shooter. If he hits 2 foul shots, I cover and win. If he hits 1 foul shot, I push. And if he misses both, an 82% foul shooter, I lose. And that's what he did. He missed both. And that I was tired before Herter did that. And then I just sat there for 2 hours staring up at the ceiling in anger. So 1-4 in NBA and, 2-3 in NHL, which was, lost less than a unit because of the score on the Red Wings -1. I think that you got to follow through. I only took the Senators instead of going with the Predators, Blue Jackets, and Senators. So, of course, the Predators and the Blue Jackets win. It's so frustrating. And then, it's 3-2 in that Columbus-Calgary game. I'm on the under 6.5. And that, then even with the overtime loss, I'll still have a winning night in NHL, which is important. Those are my highest unit size. And then there's the stupid penalty with, 4 minutes to go. And, power play goal. And of course, when it's a 2-goal difference, the empty net happens very early, for the team losing. And that's what happened. And I lost the under 6.5. So it's such a fine line. And the swings are so big. They're costly. And now you guys have bigger unit sizes than me. So the $300 swing losing Senators in overtime with $300 bet, so the swing is like $700. And it's tough, man. It is the roller coaster ride is tough. Now these Fridays we've been running real nice, and I need that now. Now I did have to send in this morning because this is my in-out day on Friday. That's why the Thursdays are so important. But it is what it is. 3-2 in college basketball. I should have been 4-0 going into the Hawaii game. I just got cute with Oregon first half. I've been doing such a good job not getting cute. Just keep it simple. Oregon dominated the second half, dominated the last 10 minutes, and I should have been 4-0 going into that spot. North Texas won outright. Southern Utah was a spot that both our guests were on. We had both Mikey Money as well as Dave Rogers on Southern Utah, and that's been working. Whereas a year and a half ago when we were all on the same side, it was a very negative ROI. It's been a positive ROI when we're all on the same side, and that was such an easy casher. Southern Utah was comfortably ahead, throughout the whole game. San Francisco +9 became an actual sweat. So it was a very tight night, and I woke up very angry. So that's my situation from last night. Rocco Rogers in the house. Sammy Culmer up over 21 units in the Australian Open so far. We've been following you on Twitter. It's incredible what you're doing, Sammy. Subhuman Gaucho in the house. Justin McKelvey, Michigan State +3. So Perky dropping half his bankroll on whiskey, and Justin McKelvey is on Michigan here, Michigan State. So that's we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about with that one here at the Kohl Center in Madison, Wisconsin. And our Bobano running very nice in college basketball here. 20-12 in his last two shows. 20-12. So let's copy and paste Perky as well, because that's the big bet for Perky. Perky doesn't mess around. Perky does not mess around. Those are big boy bets when Perky gets involved. And he's so we have Perky versus McKelvey. All right. A lot of action there. So great to see all of you guys. We need a winning day today. It is imperative that we succeed. Not being a great week. And I don't really have, it's been so tight. But the swings are massive. And I've just been losing the overtime spots, getting some bad bounces against, and disappointing. Subhuman Gaucho also on the Spartan. There's Michael Johnson in the house. What up, Michael Johnson? Great to see you. Said Joker bent him over last night. I hate that. We'll get it back for you here this evening. Browns Hughes. Sweet. Browns Hughes. I look forward to read them. Jay Smooth balls play today. Marist Niagara over 132.5. Another thing that happens on these Fridays is we're able to break down each and every game in college basketball. And here we also have an opportunity in college basketball with 8 games, just 8 games to really, really deep dive in these spots. So let's get your Marist Niagara. Bobano led us to Niagara last week, and it was a very, very nice score for us. By the way, we are about to race. Also, speaking of which, we need Coin to DM Jose and I, because we owe him cash. We owe him cash for winning yesterday's horse race. But we are lining up for today's horse race. They're lining up a 2-hour race, a little shorter than what we're used to, but we are lining up. So those are all gold members in the race. We will race every Wednesday and Friday. Jeff Slaughter giving $50 to the winner. 50 American. Kelly McKinnon says, get those ponies running. There's Jay Peasy in the house. What up, Jay Peasy? Wine Time had a great night last night. And Clint says, no UFC this weekend, and the Islanders cost me a pile. Need to bounce back tonight. The Islanders coming back and then falling apart with 4 minutes left was difficult. These highs and lows are very difficult to handle. Herder missing those 2 foul shots at the end of the game, was made me very angry. Maybe very angry is not the right word. Disillusioned. Mixed with anger, disillusionment mixed with, I don't know. I had to get up. I had to go for a walk. I had to spin one up and calm down. And then I just stared for 2 hours at the ceiling. So I know the situation. Ian Shaver says, fade the Flames. Got him again. Spectacular work, Ian. I love it. He's on Absolute Heater. I love hearing that, my man. Kelly McKidd says, Celtics smash. They have a point to prove against Miami. You nailed that breakdown. Kelly, you were all over that. So great job. Nasty Nate, of course, with the triple up there as well. So great to see all you guys. Subhuman Gaucho, Subhuman Soccer play today. Tottenham, team total over 1.5. There's our guy, Paco Healy, in the house. We've missed you, Paco. We have missed you. Slides says NHL was asked last night, just like the Islanders, on Avs and over tonight. Kings 2-12 straight up last 14, and the total over is 5-0 to the over in Avs Kings game. I have moved on the Kings first period, Slatsy, and I know you're shaking your head going, how does he keep betting the Kings? Now, the last time I bet the Kings first period, they won the first period against Florida in a similar situation and lost the game outright. I'm shocked that they haven't fired Todd McClellan, but I think they come out guns a-blazing. And look, the Avalanche, how are they not fat and happy? McKinnon just scores 4 goals, scores 3 in like 6.5 minutes. We'll see. But I am on the Kings' first period. A young OG ready to get to work. There's Guillermo Zertucci. Thank you, Guillermo, for sending tomorrow's DRF. I can't wait. We have the Pegasus in action. Berkey in the house. There's Dayberg, BT, Coin. There's my guy, Coin. So, Coin, could you email pubsportsradio@gmail.com so we can pay you your winnings for that fantastic horse race? You had late pace. You took us all out down the stretch, and you need to be rewarded. Kelly McKinnon says, pimping ain't easy. Yeah, man. Nothing's easy anymore these days. So Joey Marinaccio, the Dapper Capper, Brian Watson ready to go. Mel says I might be on the Kings too. Might be waiting on some morning skate news from a local guy. I love it, Mel. I'm going to be on the Kings first period. That's as much as I can do. And Rocco Rogers, Kings, Avs first period over. Sammy Comer asking Dan if he would bet Siakam 20 plus at -145 tonight. Dan Kelly says Anunoby and Siakam seem to point to the problem being with the Raptors instead of the other way around. With the Raptors core. So since OG moved to New York, he's leading the league in plus-minus. Yeah, but Siakam's different than Anunoby. Anunoby didn't want to be in Toronto. Siakam did. And the problem, I mean, it's affected the Raptors here losing Siakam. Now, of course, Anunoby on the floor, but have you heard Pirtle talking about I lost my best friend? Is my best friend is not on the team anymore, and it's so hard for me being a 7-foot giant without my best friend. Now he's hurt right now, not rushing back to be on the floor without his best friend, but clearly Siakam was loved in the room and outside the room. So, and Pirtle whining about losing his best friend. It's not good. You know what? In fact, situationally, I would want to back the Raptors early today against the Clippers, who are, Kawhi coming back to Toronto. He's going to have the last laugh. But the Raptors should be psyched up early to go, ready to go, especially after the debacle against Memphis. But hearing, Pirtle crying about losing his best friend makes me angry, disillusioned. I almost didn't wear this hat. I was like, it's never going to be another one of these championships. Nobody wants to play in Toronto. Nobody wants to pay Canadian taxes. It's all right. I'm not going to get into that too much. Mikey Money, what a night. Mikey Money was spectacular last night. Mikey saying it's better to leave the crying monologue to Jose. You're right. He is spectacular. Now, there's Ronnie and Burgess. He's Ned in net for tonight for the Pengs. Expect a close game 9, taking the under, believing in Ned. Morgan Spooner says, how about them Catamounts? It was a great job from the group yesterday. It was very, very, very strong work. Dave Burke looking at Kings Avs under 6.5. I cannot trust the Kings goaltending right now, whether it be Riddick or Talbot or what. But we'll talk all this over. So thank you guys for joining us. A disappointing night for me last night. 2-3, down 0.78 units in NHL, leaving the Predators and the Jackets off my card, and then losing the Senators in overtime, losing the Islanders with 3 minutes left, even though I was fortunate to be back in that, and losing the Calgary Columbus under 6.5 when that didn't look like it was in business. But for those of you who bet unders, the 2-2 after the first period with the under 6.5, you can be live in a lot of those situations. Things seem to tighten up in the second period, and we saw that Columbus got the 3-goal lead, and then they sort of parked the bus to some extent in the third. And if it wasn't for that stupid penalty and Columbus getting on the power play with that horrific power play, and it was a 5-minute power play. I mean, it was Huberdeau just being an ass clown, but we saw the same thing with Gallagher. God, it's just these nights are so intense, and I would prefer to win comfortably, obviously, but I get the kids down to bed, and then it's like 8:00 at night, so there's been an hour of action, and it's like, oh, are you ready for this? How many thousand do you have in play? Are you ready for this? Sit down and watch the roller coaster ride, and it's intense, and it takes a lot out of us. And I have been concerned. You guys have seen my health concerns, and so I did start working out this week because and I've cut down my booze because this.
What?
Yeah, I did. I was trying not to tell you, Jose. I was trying not to tell you, but yeah, I've hit the gym twice this week. I'm going back today.
One more time than I've been this month.
There's very little opportunity. The chances of me living a long, healthy life in this business are minimal. So we're going to try to add some chances at that right now. All right, let's go to work here. We have a huge card. We don't actually have a huge card, which is wonderful. We have 4 games in NHL. We have 8 games in college basketball. And then I think we have another 8 in NBA. So we are able to deep dive into all of these spots. Morgan Spooner says, new bar open near you called the Gym. There's no good sports bars close to here. That's a problem. There's no good bars here. That's why all the boozing's done alone in the dark with my action in front of me. But yes, I started. This is the first time I worked out since Costa Rica. That's horrifying. It's horrifying stuff. Horrifying stuff. All right, but yes, I'm going to try to live as long as possible with you guys and cap for as long as possible with you guys and get this to Pubapalooza each and every year for the next 50. Oh, I'll take 25, but 50 we're going to go for. All right, let's bring on your star of Fridays here. Back-to-back 10 and 6 weeks in college basketball. NHL was a rough one for him last week, but we know what Bobano can do. He makes big moves, and he's betting draws. The draws went 0-2 last week. Still, the draw record is 4-14, 22.2%. That's still enough to be ROI plus 3.89%. Average line plus 367. We'll talk this all over, but he's running very hot in college basketball, and he needs a bounce back performance in NHL, which I am hopefully going to be a big part of. Please welcome to the show from Canada's Black and Yellow. By the way, speaking of Black and Yellow, it just makes me think of hip hop and rap. We are locked in for our comedian at Pubapalooza, and I mentioned a bit to some of you guys about he's a great comic. He tours for the Special Armed Forces and the Marines and the Navy and the Army. So he spends 8 or 9 months of the year touring around the world for the American Marines and Navy and all that. And I opened for him for the first time. When I opened for him was on a trip for the Marines, 10, 12 years ago in Japan. We did the bases in Mount Fuji, and then we went down to Okinawa. He's also a Houston, Texas comic, Houston, Texas comic, and best friends with Scarface as well. So we can get some legendary stories while he's down there. So that is our comic on Sunday night at Pubapalooza. Slade Ham is his name. You can look him up on YouTube. Slade Ham is our comic on Sunday night at Pubapalooza. All right, let's get to work here right now. Please welcome from Canada's Black and Yellow, Hamilton, Ontario, Mr. Ian Cameron to the show. Bobano, how are you, my friend?
Jimmy's right about everything he said. It's happened to me too. I mean, we've been doing this, Jimmy and I, for years, and I'm sure some of us in the chat have been doing it for a very long time. The sports betting thing each and every day in multiple sports. And yes, as time goes on, I'm like Jimmy. I've become an angry, intense, and greater fat and obese human being. And what a life! What a life!
Yeah, it's just about getting to the gym that first time because you're like, oh, this feels pretty good. So who knows how long it'll last? But this will be number 3 this week, and I would like to. I fear these roller coaster rides and these sleepless nights, and I've cut down the booze quite a bit. Now you'll see it in business on Sunday in our live stream. But yeah, I would like to last a long time with you guys. Also, we are trying to figure out if we could ever, own a home, and so that's taken us looking at Belleville, Ontario, also Hamilton. My wife's hitting Hamilton really hard. So who knows? Maybe we'll be neighbors someday and we can booze together at Ticat games. That's what I would like very much. But let's get right to work. Bobano, we get into NHL, 7 p.m. Eastern. The Vegas Golden Knights, 28-14-6, 10-9-4 on the road. At the New York Rangers, 29-15-3, 15-6 0 at home. Madison Square Garden, New York. Aiden Hill comes back, and he's just spectacular immediately. I mean, I don't know how to... he's just a spectacular goaltender. I mean, he showed it all through the playoffs last year. 1.93 goals against average, 935 save percentage. I couldn't believe how he came back. Shesty not looking good. 901 save percentage. Paco Healy says Vegas. Johnny K says Rangers getting hammered. Brian Watson says Rangers. So, Vegas power play 20.6%, penalty killing 80.7%. And their injuries are unbelievable. They seem to handle them so well. But when I go through their roster. I'm like, how are they? They won 4 or 5. How are they doing it? Michael Amadio. Michael Amadio is out here. That's center out. William Carrier and William Karlsson have been out for a while. Shea Theodore's been out all year, and Jack Eichel's been out too. There's 3 centers right there gone. You have Tobias Bjornfort and Ben Hutton both out. So there's 2 defensemen. Now, it's possible that they come back today. I don't expect them to. So there's 3 defensemen if you bring in Shea Theodore, and yet they keep rolling. I don't know how they do that. And I don't know what to do with the Rangers here. That was a very disappointed 1-2-1 Western road trip. It closes with the overtime loss at San Jose on Tuesday night, and now they have to fly all the way back across the continent. Now, that was Tuesday night, so they fly on Wednesday, and they have Thursday off, and then they're here Friday. And I couldn't figure out if is this going to be a bounce back spot? What the hell is this for the Rangers? Vegas has been sitting there. Vegas plays again tomorrow night, right? Vegas plays Detroit tomorrow night. They come in off their 4th win in 5 games, 3-2 at the Islanders on Tuesday night. So they're rested, and I couldn't get there with the Rangers. If I thought this is certainly going to be a bounce back spot for them, maybe it is, and maybe Bobano will lead us there, then I would move on them. They open up at -147 right now. They're at -153. A very small move towards them. And from a total side of things, we have a 6 -113 to the under. This opened up at 5.5. It moved to 6 an hour ago. Take it away, Bobano. I got 2 bets on this card, and this wasn't one of them. Take it away.
I have the draw in this game. That's it. I think it's going to be one of those games. We saw Vegas, New Jersey go to OT. We saw the Islanders in Vegas almost go to overtime. And if not for the heroics of Aiden Hill in that game, we probably would have seen overtime with the Golden Knights and the Islanders the other night. I'm seeing that it might be Logan Thompson tonight in net, and they have Aiden Hill tomorrow night in the game against Detroit. Now, that's not confirmed yet, but as of right now, there's some sites that have Logan Thompson projected. Shesterkin should be in for the New York Rangers. He is confirmed. A lot of injuries, you're right. And it's pretty incredible how the Vegas Golden Knights, they've withstood these injuries. They've been able to win games. That New Jersey loss was very winnable. They were up 5-3. They lost 6-5. Cassidy called them out, saying we're playing like a beer league hockey team with some of the mistakes we're making defensively. And they bounced back. They beat the Islanders the next night. But you're right. The injuries, you're talking about multiple centers that are down, including the big 2 centers and Eichel and Karlsson for the Vegas Golden Knights. You've got multiple defensemen banged up, including Theodore, and yet you've still found ways to win. And I can't lay this price with the Rangers. Are you kidding me right now? Off a long road trip, not playing good hockey at all. 3-7 in their last 10 games. I can't lay a number like this. If maybe you can talk me into the Rangers at -115, -120. Sure as hell not -150 or -155 with what I'm seeing from this group right now, especially collapsing the way they did against San Jose. That was a really bad loss. Really, really bad loss the other night against the Sharks to end that road trip. I do think motivation will be there for the Rangers. But is their level of play going to be there? Their level of play is not good right now. They're not getting saves. Shesterkin's erratic. I don't think their defensive game's been as good. I think they're relying a bit too much on the power play. I don't think their 5-on-5 even strength game has been all that sharp, all that strong in recent games. So to me, this is one of those games where I do think the effort will be there, the focus will be there, the intensity will be there for the Rangers. But they just don't have it in them right now to win games easily or, at all at this point in time. And like I said, with Vegas, with the injuries they have, I think there's some doubts about whether they can pull away from teams right now. And as I said on this road trip here that started out this tri-city road trip here, tri-state road trip for Vegas, they went to OT with New Jersey, and they probably should have went to overtime against the Islanders because Islanders had 42 shots, yet couldn't get the tying goal past Aiden Hill in that game. So I'm going to go with the draw here, +350 at FanDuel.
+350 draw for Bobano. And hearing everybody kind of mixed on either side of the fence here, I'm going to stay off this spot. That just kind of validates my thought process around this one. And, I guess I'll be very interested in Detroit tomorrow. So I hope Aiden Hill plays tonight. If maybe they want to give him an extra day rest because he's coming back from injury, which makes a lot of sense. We'll see how it all bangs out.
That could be it, but I'm just making sure I'm seeing multiple sites because I've only looked at RotoWire. I'm trying to see what some of these other sites are saying. I think a couple of the other ones have Logan
Left
project.
foot lock had Aiden Hill, but I don't know if that's changed. I set this all up last night. So,
Yeah.
But Bobano on the draw at plus 350. We were going to roll into game 2 here. I'm starting to feel better. Sometimes you need to be with your friends and you start feeling better. And that's what I'm starting to feel better. I was being holding on to a lot of anger for the last little while. So starting to feel a little better. And seeing our horse race also makes me feel better. So we are about to start our race here. They are at the post, and we can't. Now, we've heard the spectacular horse sounds from our Jose Bouquet, but it's hard to hold a candle to our guest here on Fridays. So if you don't mind, Bobano, could you start our horse race with that incredible horse sound that you deliver? And it's so good that we want you on our horse streams just for the sound alone. Maybe we need to record this. Jose, maybe we need to record this, but they are at the post. Bobano, could you get the race started for us?
All right, they are at the post, and they are off.
There you go. And Dabby Cab fires right out. Dabby Cab and Randall Sheffield fire right out. There's Philly Eagle Flyer and Jeff Slaughter on the inside post. Remember, if Slaughter, Preston, or myself win, we double it up for the next race. It goes right back in. Julian Cesario making a move. You're going to see him in San Antonio. He is a star of film and television, Julian Cesario in the lead. And there's Billy Briz. Briz poking his nose up, and Ian Shaber also in position here. An hour, 59 minutes, and 25 seconds left in this race. Nutflush Allen and Julian Cesario trying to battle here for the lead. Will the pace hold? I don't think so. It is a marathon of marathons. There's K Wolf on the inside. K Wolf making a big move as well.
That's the horse race I've ever fucking seen. That's for sure.
That's where we stand. Juan Ruiz, my God, I'd love to see Juan Ruiz grab it. This is a race for gold members of Pub Sports Radio. We'll do it every Wednesday and Friday. And Jimmy the Bag. Look at that, Jimmy the Bag making a big move here early. And Fanatical Jim taking away my thunder. Bunk Hoots! Here comes Bunk Hoots. So we will be discussing this horse race as we move forward. Let's get into the next game on the board for us. Bobano, 7 p.m. Eastern. Florida Panthers, 29-14-4, 15-7-2 on the road at Pittsburgh Penguins, 21-17-6, 11-8-2 at home. We're at PPG Paints Arena, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Sergei Bobrovsky, Tristan Yari is what I have listed, but we've heard that Needles might be in. Actually, we heard that he was in from Ronnie and Berge. It is Nedeljkovic. Ronnie and Berge says there are rumors that Rutherford is blowing up Dubas' phone about acquiring Gensel. God, that would be.
Vancouver needs him, but wow. Yeah.
If you think about where the Canucks power play is right now, aren't you surprised? It's so it's just not as nearly as dangerous as I expected it to be. Gensel would be a monster. Dubas said on his radio show that the next block of games will determine what he does. Well, Ronnie, watching Dubas work, I would be extremely concerned because he manages like a hockey fan. And so you're lucky he doesn't bring in Joe Thornton at 45 years old because he has players that he grew up watching that he still wants them on his hockey team. That's why this is the perfect fit for him, the oldest team in the NHL. Nasty Nate in the house. Okay, so let's roll here into this spot. Interesting information from Ronnie there. Florida power play at 22.3%. Isn't it fascinating that Pittsburgh power play just won't get any better? And something that's always bothered me with Erik Karlsson is I almost don't know if he wants to be on good teams. It feels like he wants to play 30 minutes a game. He wants the puck on his stick the whole time. Now, he seems like a nice guy, and I don't mean to say anything. I don't. He had the whole issue in Ottawa. It was, we don't need to rehash that, but it was the wives and all that nonsense here. And but it just doesn't seem like he steps up. He doesn't. I don't know what the hell's going on with his power play at 13.3%. Penalty killing at 82.8%. The Panthers coming off their second straight win, 6-2 at home over the Coyotes on Wednesday night. Barkov returned from the injury. Sammy Reinhart, 35th of the year. The Penguins coming off their second straight loss in fourth and fifth games, 5-2 at Arizona on Monday. Riley Smith and Nieto are out of the lineup for the Penguins. And I fear fading the Penguins in situations like this. I just, home dog. I fear it. This total opened up at 6, minus 119 to the over. It's still minus 118 to the over. if this was the matchup in the playoffs, I would be so confident in the Panthers. But I just don't, and I left money on the table not taking the Panthers on the puck line against the Yotes or the Lightning the following night against the Yotes. But there's been a 3-cent move towards the Panthers, and I much prefer fading the Penguins when the Penguins are favorites. Take it away, Bobano, Panthers, Penguins.
Yeah, as for me here, you look at this game, and Pittsburgh is just in a really, really tough spot right now as far as their level of play. I mean, they've really struggled. Now, a couple of those games were good efforts for them. They lost in overtime to Vancouver, to Carolina, pretty good team. But then they beat Seattle 3-0, although Seattle was really banged up in that game. It was the middle of that long road trip for them. But then they have those 2 games on the road, blowing that lead against Vegas. And then we all saw what happened against Arizona. Not only did they not play well, but that embarrassing own goal, putting it into your own empty net on a delayed penalty. It's about as bad as it gets. And they lose that game by a score of 5-2. This is just not a very good hockey team. It's time to admit that. I know they've got Crosby, Malkin, and Gensel and Letang, and they have a core that you would think should be better. But definitely I'm not interested in Pittsburgh tonight. What I like about Florida is what they've been doing on the road lately. They've been absolutely outstanding. They've been road warriors. Look what they did in that last road trip that they had. They go to Vegas. They beat up the defending champs 4-1. They go to Colorado. Who goes into Colorado and beats the Avalanche 8-4 on the road? The Florida Panthers do. They won that game on the road. They beat St. Louis 5-1 on the road. Then they come back home and they struggle, believe it or not. They had a bad homestand. But then they get back on the road against Nashville. What do? They take care of business 4-1. And it was only 4-1 because of the goaltending in that game. Saros kept it from being much worse. I think the shots were like 38-20 for Florida. They've been awesome on the road. They have been lights out on the road lately, the Florida Panthers. I like them here, but I'm going to take them in a bit of a different way. I'm going to go with Florida team total over 3.5, plus 120 at Pinnacle. I think most games Florida wins, they score 4 goals. If you look at Florida's recent wins, Vegas score 4, Colorado 8, St. Louis 5, Nashville 4. The only win that they've had lately that they scored fewer than 4 was the LA win in overtime that they came back and they had a bad start. And then, of course, they scored 6 the other night against Arizona. So I definitely like the Panthers here, but obviously I'm not crazy about the minus 130 price. I figure, if Florida wins, they're probably going to score 4 goals. Why bet minus 130 when I can take Florida team total over 3.5 plus 120? So that is what I am doing.
And this worked for you last Friday. It's funny to mention this. So I lost on the Panthers on the minus 1 line. They lost 6-4 to Minnesota. You cashed with their team total over. And that was the one game of the last 13 games that Sammy Reinhart didn't score a goal and you were on him for the goal. I mean, it's just those bounces are just what can you do? I mean,
we will not be on Sam Reinhart to score tonight, but we will be on Florida team total again, which did cash last week. They lost to Minnesota 6-4, but again, I said that last week. I mean, they're a big favorite. I want nothing to do with Florida as a big favorite in that game, but I think they score 4 goals against that Minnesota team at least, and they did, even though they lost.
Look, it's working, and I really recognized it when I lost on Friday and you won. Sammy Comer says Vegas draw, Avalanche draw parlays plus 2,000 at 20-1. Phil Eagle Fly says Panthers beat out Bruins in the end. I'm happy I got my Panthers futures in. I could have got it at a better time. I got 10-1 for the Cup, 5-1 for the East. I'll take it and move on. Kent Davis says Ned's 93% save percentage at home this year. That's part of the reason why Yzerman wanted him gone. And then Brindamore wanted him gone because you see these flashes of elite goaltending. He was a Vezina Trophy finalist, but there's no consistency. And I imagine, well, I can't. I have no sense of what he really is as a person, but there's just no consistency with his play on the ice, and then you can question why that is, and then you can connect dots there. Bobano on the Panthers. Team total.
You're not kidding. I'm just looking at it. You're not kidding about Nedeljkovic's struggles against Florida the last few years. He's given up 16 goals the last 3 starts against Florida. Wow.
Yeah, it's
wow.
Yeah, it's that Jose commenting on Craig Wood. That's one of the rules that we have. He's not allowed to say that out loud. So I guess he's skirting the rules by writing it down. There's a couple rules that we've instilled with Jose. He's not allowed to say that when someone says that they had a baby, but he has written it down. we will let him, I guess, let that pass. We haven't said that he's not allowed to write it out either. So, Craig Wood, this horse race, we have an hour, 51 minutes left. We have them every Wednesday and Friday, $50 to the winner, and it is for PSR Gold members. We have an upgrade in membership. Gold members get in this race every Wednesday and Friday and also get a discount at our store. And Gulfstream full card from Razor Sharp Picks. Gulfstream full card here. I love it. And you guys know there's just 2 rules with Jose. He's not allowed to say that line, and he's not allowed to call anybody his baby boy. Those are the only rules that we have instilled for our Jose Bouquet, and he's handled them pretty well. Joey Harb says no harm done. It's funny. So Joey Harb is fine with Jose Bouquet congratulating any new parent on the fact that they've had sex. To each their own. But I've instilled that rule. Now he can overrule. He is the producer. He's on the 1s and 2s. He controls. Okay, those 2 games I don't have action on. Let's talk about 2 games I have action on. 9 p.m. Eastern, LA Kings 22-14 and 9, 14-5 and 3 on the road. Colorado Avalanche 31-14 and 3, 19-5 and 0 at home. Bobano, before we get into this, how does Todd McClellan have a job? How?
Well, I think he has. It's because he's had a great run with LA until this year. And I think everybody's just in a little state of being stunned right now. I think even Rob Blake, the GM, is stunned. Like, how did we go from playing the way we were a month and a half ago when we're having that amazing road record, we're ripping through, teams away from home, and then all of a sudden the last month we can't get out of our own way. And what are they now? 2-13 in their last 15 games. I mean, it's just a shocking downfall and decline from this LA Kings team. And they have nothing else to point to for their issues than they're all of a sudden, for a team that's been so sound defensively all these years, they're misplaying the puck. They're turning it over. They're not dialed in terms of the details of the game defensively. They're making a critical breakdown or mistake or turnover every single game. Doughty nailed it with his rant after the loss to Buffalo that they're concerned about their points, it looks like, and their cookies. You got guys cheating for offense. That never used to happen to LA Kings. The LA Kings hockey was never, we're going to not all be all in as a 5-man unit defensively at all times. And all of a sudden, you're seeing that structure and that system just fractured right now. You got guys cheating for offense. You got turnovers happening. You got bad penalty issues lately for the LA Kings. And their defensive breakdowns in their own zone. I can't believe how many I have seen from this Kings team the last few weeks. And a part of it is the goaltending hasn't been as good. Cam Talbot now is not playing like he did early in the season, and we have no faith in David Riddick long-term. He can beat San Jose, but, really other than that, do we have a boatload of confidence in him? No. So there's issues galore for LA. But as you know, this team got called out by the coach and by Drew Doughty, a prominent veteran defenseman who's got a couple Stanley Cups to his name. If you're ever going to do something, if you're ever going to show up for something, maybe it's tonight. We'll see.
I'm on them first period at plus 115. I just couldn't help myself. I don't know if it'll be Talbot. I expect it'll be Riddick. Georgiev, 26-11 and 2.95 goals against average, 897 save percentage, 2 shots. He's not being very good, but the Avalanche are very good. And wait till Nichushkin comes back from rehab. I fear some guys. Sammy Girard, young enough. We've seen guys really handle it. I fear for Nichushkin. I hope he can handle, being off the ball. I hope he can. The Kings coming off their 4th loss of 5 games, 5-3 at home to Buffalo on Wednesday. It was astonishing, and I lost a lot of money on it. The Avalanche coming off their 3rd win in 4 games, 6-2 at home over the Capitals on Wednesday night. Nathan McKinnon was spectacular. He was absolutely spectacular. And, Mel keeps asking us if he's the best player in the NHL. He certainly is right now. And I even when she was asking me a while ago that question, I thought Makar is better than McKinnon, but no one is touching McKinnon right now. Can he keep that going throughout the rest of the season? We shall see. I'm on the Kings first period at plus 115. Let's take a look at this line history here. I thought about doubling up, honestly. I'm not going to. They opened up at plus 127. They're now plus 130. There was a move towards them right away. So this line came out at 1:37 p.m. yesterday, and there was a 13-cent move towards them in 7 minutes. And it stayed around that number for just 20 minutes before it kind of came back to where it started. But I'm on them at plus 115 right now. There's been a 3-cent move. There's really been very little movement on the money line. And from a total side of things here, we have a 6.5. It's minus 117 to the under. This has dropped to 6 twice. Now it's just a juice 6.5. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Are you moving on Kings Avalanche?
This is I've talked myself into the same bet as you in this game. I was definitely looking in that direction. I actually considered full game as well, but I think the first period you can expect a great push and surge from LA. Don't you have to see it at this point after everything that was said the last 2 days that there's going to be zero response and zero life and zero answer and pushback from what Drew Doughty said about his team? That was a scathing review of the LA Kings, courtesy of Drew Doughty after the loss to Buffalo. Scathing. And, you either sulk about it or you own it and you come back and you fire back strong here in this game. But kind of like you, I don't know if I trust LA for the 60 minutes. And the one thing we see repeatedly from this Colorado team is they can have slow starts at home. And they have had slow starts at home occasionally, not all the time. But even the Washington game the other night, yeah, it ended 6-2, but that was a slow start for Colorado. Washington was out shooting Colorado 7-2 in the first 10 minutes of that game the other night. And it ended at 1-0 Colorado after the first period. They scored a late first period goal. They weren't great in the opening period the other night. They were a little, lethargic. So I think if you're LA, it's reasonable for anyone to assume that they're going to have a very, very strong opening 20 minutes. To me, that's probably like if they have a bad first 20 minutes tonight and they're down, they're probably not coming back. So why tempt fate with the full game when you know this team struggled to put 60 quality minutes of hockey together, when you can just take first period, knowing that you're probably going to get an intense, focused, angry type of hockey team to start the game. And because for Colorado, look, there's no urgency for Colorado coming into this game. They've won a couple in a row. It was a pretty good road trip for them. We could see a little bit of a sluggish beginning to this game. Hell, like I said, the Washington game the other night, even though they won 6-2 and it turned into a blowout in the third period, they were outplayed for the majority of the first period by the Capitals in that game. And like I said, they just got that late goal to make it 1-0 in the first that night. So I'm with you here. We'll go LA Kings plus 122 at Botano in the first period.
You got it. Bobano on the Kings first period plus 122. I got it at plus 115. I actually could have got it at plus 118 at Pinnacle, but I sent it in instead. We can talk all about that another time. But yeah, I decided that
I'm also going to go over 6. There's a 6.5. I was not going to be an official play, but Bet Rivers has a 6 with minus 124. So we'll go over 6 as well. Like series history, it's been all overs. And if you look at the LA Colorado series in Colorado, especially, what have we seen? We've seen 5-2, 5-4, 9-3 in the last 3 head-to-head meetings in Denver between these two teams. Kings actually won 2 of those last 3 meetings in Denver against the Avalanche. So maybe they do win tonight, but I only trust them first period. So first period Kings and full game over for me.
You got it, Bobano. We roll on Bo Jackson on abs and regulation, and Bo Jackson nailed the Wizards spot yesterday with Unseld going upstairs and nothing changing. And Bo Jackson nailed that. So respect, Bo. All right, let's roll. 10 p.m. Eastern, final spot on the card before we get into college basketball. And again, Bobano 20-12 in his last 2 shows here in college basketball. St. Louis Blues at Seattle Kraken. Now, this is becoming a bigger problem for whatever reason. I guess because the stakes are higher now than they've ever been in my life, capping wise, with the young family. And I put my unit size up January 1st. But now the prep work that is so important the night before it's really hard when you have all this money in play and you've got all these games going on and you need to work on tomorrow, but you can't stop focusing, on your action. I should have got on the Kraken earlier, and I didn't get onto the Kraken until late. I still got the plus 102 on the -1 line. This was at 365. It had already moved to slightly minus on Pinnacle, but I was way late on this. I should have, and I saw it and I knew I liked it. I just, for whatever reason, I didn't pull the trigger. I can't explain why that was, but I still got plus 102, whatever it is, what it is. This total is at 6 minus 111 to the under. This got to 5.5 for a little bit yesterday afternoon. So it's 6. It's juice to the under. And then we have on the money line, the Seattle's now minus 172. Just a huge move towards them. Open up at minus 145. It's just been a constant move towards them. And what really bothered me is if I had got in last night, even if I just did it before I went to sleep, I was so angry about the Herter foul shots, but I could have got minus 146 on the money line to start the minus 1. I could have got a plus 112 on the minus 1 or something around there, but whatever. I got plus 102. It is what it is. Now, this is all set up because I do not think Grubauer will be in net. He could be in net. I think they got to go back to Joy Decor, but if Grubauer's in net, I'm screwed. Binnington will be in net over Hofer. I think Hofer is better than Binnington right now. He certainly concerns me more when he's in net. St. Louis power play 14.2%. Penalty killing 78.2%. Seattle power play 20.5%. Penalty killing 79.4%. Brown Sue says I like Blues and make them a minus 123 favorite. Yeah, if the Blues are going to come in here and sweep a 3-game road trip, and now Justin Falk's out, they've been fine without Malmstrom and Jacobs. But then God bless them. God bless them. They're 10-12-1 on the road. They just came back in impressive fashion against the Flames, and then they go into Vancouver and they beat them. Pia Suter did his best to stop that from happening. But if this St. Louis Blues team is going to do that, then take the money out of my wallet. So that's all.
You're not buying that they do the old 3-game road trip sweep here, huh?
I'm not. And look, I can understand after watching them that people can be high on what they're doing on the road. There's my guy Nate Dogg 420 in the house. So Seattle snapped their 4-game losing streak with a 6-2 win at home over the Blackhawks on Wednesday night. Yanni Gourde, Matty Beniers, and Pierre-Edouard Bellemare are all out of the lineup, but they've been dealing with forwards out of the lineup all year. And I don't like to back a team after an easy win versus a weak opponent, but they had won 9 straight before those 4 losses. And I'm going to go up against, sadly, my guy Lucas Ryan's St. Louis Blues, whom I love backing. Gym information is moving the line. Thank you, Lucas. So take it away, Bobano. I'm going to crack in minus 1.
St. Louis has not done a nice job here, Calgary and Vancouver. And they're suddenly right back in the playoff mix. That's a great point, Slats. Like we counted St. Louis out when the firing of Berube took place. But my goodness, with Drew Bannister behind the bench, they've crawled right back into the playoff mix. They're right there with Seattle, just on the outside of looking in the wild card race in the Western Conference. It's actually a huge hockey game here. 2 big points on the line with the Blues and the Kraken here tonight. St. Louis, 3rd road game in 4 nights. Credit to them, beating Calgary, beating Vancouver in overtime. This is a tough spot, though. It is. It's the 3rd road game in 4 nights. No question about that. And if you look at this Seattle team, still think Seattle's a little better team. And you look at the bad run that they had. And remember, they were on that, 8-9 game win streak. Then all of a sudden the injuries mounted. And the road trip started to get grueling. And the schedule really started to get grueling. So when you see those 4 losses in a row that Seattle had, at Pittsburgh, at the New York Rangers, at Edmonton to end that road trip, and then they return home and they lose to Toronto. And we know that's the most brutal of spots when you're coming back home off a 6-game road trip. We had Jason Demers, longtime NHL defenseman, on our betcast last night for the Ice Guys. He said the same thing. One of the spots he said he would look at betting against with teams is a 5+ game road trip back home. And Seattle was in that spot against Toronto on Sunday night. They lost 3-1. So the point is with these Seattle losses, they were without Beniers. Dunn was out. Burakovsky was banged up. They played the Pittsburgh Penguins on MLK Day, the Rangers the next night. They fly to Edmonton to play 2 days later, and then they come back home to play Toronto. Bad spot, bad spot, bad spot, bad spot. All 4 games combined with injuries and a flu bug riding through the team at the time. So I'm forgiving Seattle for those 4 losses. I don't think that was a sign that, back to the old Seattle that stunk early in the season. No, I don't believe in that. And sure enough, after the Toronto loss, Jimmy, what happened? They finally, no travel. They finally got to stay at home for a few days, get a little healthier, get the illness situation out of the dressing room, play Chicago, and we saw them take care of business and look as good. Now, Chicago's not good, obviously, but 6-2, they did what they had to do. They looked like it was one of their better performances in a while. To me, it's definitely a Seattle spot, I agree with that, but obviously I don't want to lay this price, and I'm not going to lay this price, especially with St. Louis doing what they've been doing lately. So how do I go about it? We're going to go with, what we do with these bigger favorites. When we like the bigger favorite, what do? We go team total, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here. Seattle team total over 3.5 in this game, and let me just get the price on that. Plus 108 at Pinnacle. Plus 108 at Pinnacle. I think they get to 4 goals tonight. You're right. Binnington's been very up and down. I don't necessarily trust him to shut the door one night to the next. We should see him in net. The beauty of having the Kraken team total over as well is I don't have to worry about, is it Decord or is it Grubauer, who might be rusty in his first start in a very long time? Don't have to worry about that anymore. Just score 4 goals, and I think Seattle can do that. So team total.
I love it. I went over the rest situation, and I'm betting on Decord being in goal. But, those things can
I think
blow
you got to
up.
give him more runway. He's been that good. And it's
yeah.
not like Grubauer was, lights out before the injuries, up and down this season. So
It's been horrible since he left Colorado. Okay, that is our NHL breakdown. I'm so excited to get into college basketball. Not only has Bobano been rolling on these Fridays, I've had monster Fridays listening to his analysis and the chat's analysis. This is our NHL card for today. Bobano draw Vegas New York Rangers plus 350. Then he's on the Panthers team total over 3.5 at plus 120. Then he's on the Kings first period and the over 6 in Kings Avalanche. I'm on the Kings first period. He's on Kraken Then he's on the Kraken team total over 3.5. And I'm
also on the draw in that Seattle St. Louis game. Plus 370 at FanDuel with Seattle St. Louis draw. The reason for that is we've had a few recent games past regulation and series history with the Blues and the Kraken. Not to mention, if you look at St. Louis's road games lately, last 4 road games, 3 of them have been 1-goal games, and 2 of them have gone to overtime or a shootout. So these Blues road games lately, we're seeing some real tight, close games, 1-goal games, and a couple have gone to OT. So I'm going to add the draw on that game as well, plus 370.
You are locked in. Let's move to college basketball. But before we do, let's take a peek at the horse race here. An hour and 34 minutes left of racing. LJ from HTown, our NBA expert today. He is in a line with Ian Shaber and Philly Eagle Flyer. Rude boy. Sitting there ready to roll. He's taking a lead, starting to take a lead here. Is Rude
Dutch,
boy.
you got to pick up the pace there. Yeah, man. Well, he's got to pick up the pace here.
No, you want late pace. You don't want to fire away here when you got an hour and 33 minutes left of running.
Got an hour and a half to plan his strategy. Exactly.
Yeah. Sharon pulling him. Sharon taking a lead here. And Randall Sheffield making another move. Saturated making an appearance here. We have an hour and 33 minutes. $50 up for grabs, and Risen Wave is on Avalanche puck line -0.5 in the first period. Okay, so we are going heads up on that one. Risen Wave. So let's roll on to, and Fanatical Jim says, feel bad for Philip Hedel. Apparently got injured again this morning. His first practice back. That is too bad.
Brutal. Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of moves in NHL now over the next month. Get ready for it. Ton of moves, ton of transactions, and the Devils, the Rangers, the Kings, they're going to be heavily involved in these transactions. All right, let's move on to college basketball here. And how do I not have this Arkansas State game here? What the hell's wrong with me? We have a 5 p.m. start in Arkansas State, and I don't have it. Sorry, Jose, we have Arkansas State, Louisiana. It's because it was supposed to play yesterday. And it was postponed. Why was it postponed yesterday? Do we know? Of course, it was supposed to be postponed. Sorry. You know what, Jose? Why don't we start with Ohio, Kent State, because you've got that set up, and then we can get the Arkansas State. We'll do Arkansas State, Louisiana. Does anybody know why the game didn't go off? Power outage, says the Juice. Okay, so that's great. That means we got 5 p.m. action. Okay, that's dope, because I know that wasn't there when I was building this worksheet. So we'll go into that game next. But let's start with Ohio, Kent State. A little MACtion for us here. Ohio Bobcats 9-10, 3-4 in the MAC. At Kent State Golden Flashes 10-9, 3-4 in conference. We are in Kent, Ohio for this one. Take a look at the situation here from a rest perspective. We have Ohio's modest two-game winning streak snapped at Akron, and that was just on Tuesday. on Tuesday. So both teams played on Tuesday, and Kent State went to overtime at Bowling Green. Now got the win for their second win in 3 games, but at Bowling Green on Tuesday and come back and play here in Ohio, losing at Akron 67-58. Let's get into the line history here for this spot in college basketball and hear what Bobano has to say. We have right now, and we're going to be using our Bet Online openers and closers. Don't forget about our poker tournament 1 week from today. Our poker tournament, 8 p.m. Eastern on Bet Online. I'm hoping that our new rules are locked in. I will let you guys know that as soon as it's available to enter and to register. And don't forget about our link on our website to Bet Online. $1,000 up to $1,000, 100% bonus, and it doesn't have to be crypto. That bonus everywhere you see it in every other site is crypto only, not here with us. It's great. So let's roll into this spot here. Ohio is at +3 at -109 right now. They opened up at 3.5 and got down to 2. So we do have a half-point move towards Kent State. Is there any issues with the rest playing overtime on the road on Tuesday here? Then from a total side of things, we have a 147. This opened up at 154. We have a 7-point drop in the total. Unbelievable. And I'm going to pull up the cash flow here in a second and discuss it. But I've got to get that up here. So let's hear what Bobano has to say. Ohio Bobcats, Kent State Golden Flashes.
Yeah, good rivalry with these two teams usually. And Akron, of course, beat Kent State last week, if you remember, 77-71. But Kent State bounced back 90-84. One thing to note, too, about Kent State here, just in the last few games, they're playing much faster. They really are. I mean, their possession numbers have gone up big time the last few games, which is like they're for the whole season. They're at 191 in the country as far as pace is concerned. But here in conference play, we've seen this team actually pump things up a little bit as far as the pace numbers. And defensively, they're struggling, Kent State. 11th right now in the MAC conference as far as defensive efficiency is concerned. These are 2 of the top 3 teams in terms of offensive efficiency right now in conference play. And again, now we're into late January, so we've got ourselves a lot of data points, a lot of games under their team's belts as far as conference play is concerned. This is that time of year you've got to start valuing the conference statistics, conference play statistics over the full season statistics, because there's a big difference usually in the way a team will play in non-conference play versus conference play. And if you look at these teams, they're surging offensively right now. They're not very good defensively. Kent State's played a little quicker. They've gone over 3 straight. What is the reason for this total falling this low? Now, I'm with the betting markets in that, yeah, at 151.5, I don't like this over really all that much. Now we're going to give me a 147 with this total, with what I'm seeing from the last few games between these 2 teams. Or sorry, I can get actually 146.5 -118 at Pinnacle. I will sign up for that. I like over 146.5 here, -118 at Pinnacle. And it is worth noting when these teams played last year on this floor at Kent State, 82-75. Game got well into the 150s. So I think the total's just fallen too low at this point.
Yeah, you've done this and succeeded when the total has moved over 6 points, and this is a 7 or 7.5 point move depending on where you shop. 73% of tickets, 65% of cash is on Kent State. So Ohio is 27% and 35%. Can you tell me again what happened the last time these 2 teams met up?
Last time these teams met, it was actually they haven't played each other yet this season.
Oh, okay, it was last.
They have not this season. This is the first conference meeting this year between the Bobcats and the Golden Flashes. Last year, Kent State won both meetings. But the road team covered in both games. Ohio covered at Kent State. They were 8-point dogs. They lost by 7. And then Kent State was 4.5-point road favorites at Ohio. They won by 5. But both games were right close to the number.
I'm very interested in Ohio. What do you think of Kent State Tuesday night, overtime, Bowling Green, traveling back home? Do you feel like there is an advantage, or the fact that Ohio had to travel here kind of negates that?
Well, I'll tell you what about Ohio. If you look at it, the last few games that they've played, they were really struggling big time, really having a tough time. But again, you look for morphing teams, and the last 2 games, now bad teams like Central and Eastern Michigan, they're really not very good. but they won and covered. They were decisive. They blew out both of those teams. They did lose at Akron 67-58 earlier this, but Akron's rolling. Akron is absolutely up there as one of the top teams in the MAC right now. No questions. Them and Toledo, I think, are the top two teams right now going in this conference. So no shame in that. I'm kind of with you. Situationally, I would lean Ohio a little bit. It's not like Kent's form is very good right now. If you look at Kent State, they're kind of up and down. They beat Northern Illinois. They beat Bowling Green on the road. So that's pretty a solid win. But, on this home court, they've had issues. If you go back and look here for Kent State, they failed to cover 3 of their last 4 home games now.
I'm interested. In fact, I think I'm going to move. I expect to bet the Bobcats here. So it looks like I'll be starting my card with Ohio. But let's talk about the makeup spot, 5 p.m. Eastern. This is from yesterday's card. Now, the line has changed. So yesterday when we discussed this spot, Mikey Money gave us Arkansas State +5 at -105 and Arkansas State Red Wolves at Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns. Let's get into the line history here and discuss the situation as we did yesterday. So we already come in knowing that Mikey liked Arkansas State. Mikey's in the chat right now. Mikey, are you moving on them again here? Arkansas State snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 79-72 win at Texas State. The Ragin' Cajuns have won 3 straight, coming off beating Southern Alabama 88-79. They also played at Texas State, and they beat them badly. They beat them by 18 points. So that was on Thursday of last week, Thursday the 17th. So that's the situation here. No, that was more than that. Sorry, that was earlier. It was on Wednesday. So there we go. That's the rest situation.
Confirmed in net for the Vegas Golden Knights. Just confirmed.
Who's that? Aiden Hill
in net.
Oh, perfect. Yep. That's perfect. So I'm going to be on the Red Wings tomorrow night. Now, I hope Vegas plays really well here. If they lose 5-0, I'm not going to be on the Red Wings. But okay, interesting. Okay, so here we go. We have Bet Online at 3.5. Wow. So obviously taking note of the action from yesterday. This became available 40 minutes ago. It opened at 3.5 at Bet Online. At Pinnacle, they opened this up at 4. This opened up at this opened up at 3.5 as well. So there was a half-point move to the Ragin' Cajuns to 4. Okay, interesting. And then so it's just Bet Online's the only book that hasn't moved it yet. Then from a total side of things here, we are sitting with a 155. This opened up right there. There's been a 3-cent move to the over at 155, and we get no information on the cash flow. But in saying that, we could look at yesterday and see what the cash flow was like for yesterday to give us an idea here. So yesterday, I think there it looks like there. So yesterday, 48% of the tickets and 72% of the cash were on Arkansas State, but that was at 5. So that's a little different. And then totals wise, yesterday, this closed at 156.5, and it had 42% of tickets and 54% of cash on the over. So it looks like the books have really taken account of where the money was yesterday and moved the line today accordingly. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Arkansas State Red Wolves, Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns, 5 p.m. Eastern to make up from yesterday's postponement.
Yeah, it's this one was postponed for yesterday, these two. I think I made a case to maybe look at over in that game. I don't know if I'm going to rebet it, though. I mean, I don't like these spots where you get a game canceled. Now they're playing the next day, and it's an earlier start time. It's not exactly something I'm digging as far as, looking at back again. But Arkansas State's like a over machine. 7 of their last 8 have gone over, or 6 of their last 7. They play extremely fast. Remember, their head coach is one of Nate Oates' former assistants at Alabama. So, we know Alabama plays fast, and he's brought that here to Arkansas State, and they definitely are capable of scoring. And defensively, though, they're kind of up and down. UL Lafayette, on the flip side, they've kind of gone over in 5 straight games. That's why I was definitely leaning over the total in this game. To me, I was looking at it's like where are the stops going to come from? You got 2 teams that are very good offensively right now. Arkansas State plays pretty fast at this point in time. Let me just see what the current number 155 it is with this game right now with the total for Arkansas State UL Lafayette. Just want to see what Bart Torvik's got this at 156. And like I said, definitely these teams are playing quick. There's no question about that. They're playing very solid at the offensive end as well. So to me, when I look at this matchup here, let me see what I can get as far as the total right now. But I look at this matchup here as I was on the over yesterday. Obviously, the game got postponed. I will bet it. What the hell? 154.5 minus 120. There's a 1.5 point discrepancy from Bart Torvik, which is a site I respect utmost when it comes to college basketball. So we'll take a shot there. Over 154.5 minus 120. I think earlier on this season on the show, I had a over on a 5 p.m. game and it went over the total. So maybe I'm not. Maybe I shouldn't be as scared about the postponement and the game being an earlier start time. So over 154.5 minus 120.
And Leonard Portuguese says, I do not expect a good crowd tonight in Lafayette. Says Mardi Gras season. There are balls tonight, parades tomorrow. Cajuns basketball not a priority. I love the inside information from our guy Leonard Portuguese Jr. Big shout out to our guy Swiss Horton, gifting 20 Pub Sports Radio memberships. What a guy Swiss he is. Thank you, Swiss, for all that you put into our channel, man. It means a ton to us. Our guy Swiss Horton, 20 Pub Sports Radio memberships. Johnny K, Don Play, Bumbleclot 24, Scarminati, Anthony Velez, Patrick Joyce, David Skocek, Dominic St. Marie, Matthew Green, Velo Cuts, James Kennedy, Imminent Hippo, DJ Hardy, Rem Most, Nate Dog 420, Gagnon, Curtis Grant, Woo Rizza, Go Mike, and SOKK getting the gifts. Swiss, you're the man. And he's up 12K this week.
Wow. Holy shit.
I love it. Swiss doesn't mess around. He gets hot. He gets hot and it starts.
The combination, Tim Hortons and Swiss Chalet is treating him well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he heats up, man. He heats up and he shares the wealth. And there's Kyle Hindley, and look at that, Swiss getting it started. Thank you, Kyle. A $10 dono from Kyle Hindley, and thank you guys so much for all that you do for us. Truly, truly inspiring, and we all can't wait for Pubapalooza when we can have drinks together and celebrate and get that cash together. And Kyle Hindley and up 22K in the Aussie Open. I just love all of this. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Thank you, guys. Both of you. Thank you. Blessing our action. Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern, and we come to my guy in San Antonio, Jay Smooth. Jay Smooth, Smooth Balls. Play of the day is Marist Niagara over 132.5. By the way, Mikey Money says he still leans to Arkansas State, but he's off the side with the line dropping. Says he could see points with these offenses and the lack of D, like Bobano said. Joseph Alvarado in the house with us. Robert Franklin giving us a look on UVU, Utah Valley, Seattle. I'm going to copy and paste that and have that ready for us to discuss.
That's one of those that looks too good to be true with that total that I mentioned in that Arkansas State game. Like Arkansas State's trending over. UL Lafayette's trending over lately. The head-to-head series has been all overs, one over after another. Both games got well into the 150s last year. So it feels like it's a layup, but sometimes it's not.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, watching the NBA last night, you have two teams shoot over 60% from three. I mean, it's just Celtics and Lakers were bananas last night. Yep. All right, 7 p.m. Eastern. Let's roll into it. Jay Smooth giving us the over here. Marist Red Foxes 9-7, 4-3 in the Metro Atlantic. Niagara Purple Eagles 99, 5-3 in the Metro Atlantic. We cashed with these Niagara Purple Eagles last. We've actually been very good with them on these Fridays. Gallagher Center in Niagara Falls, New York. You led us to Niagara. We were both on them last week. Let's talk about the situation here. Two good teams in the Metro Atlantic facing off against each other. Marist has won 2 of 3. They come off beating Siena 50-48. Very low-scoring affair at home on Sunday. They won 50-48. They shot 12.5% from 3 and still pulled out the victory. They were 6.5-point favorites. They didn't cover. They held Siena to 23 points in the second half. Niagara's won 4 of 5. They're coming off beating Mount St. Mary's on Sunday, 82-71 on the road. They went into Ryder, beat them, went into Mount St. Mary's, beat them. This is a team that's rolling. Niagara shot 66.7% from 3 in the 82-71 loss. My goodness, were they rolling. Let's take a look at the line history here for the third spot on the board. From a total scenario, we're sitting at 132.5, still a minus 105 to the over. This has gone down from 136. So Jay Smooth waiting for it to get to the bottom and moving on it. 132 and it's still juiced to the under. So there are some 132s out there. Wow. Then from a point spread scenario here, we have it sitting at a 2.5. Niagara minus 2.5 at minus 113. They opened up at minus 1.5, but the first move was to Marist. This became a pick'em after 11 minutes. Then it started building back towards Niagara. So we have a 1-point move towards Niagara, but it's hard not to acknowledge that initial move to Marist. And then when we take a look at the cash flow here Oh, sorry, I'm back on Thursday. Let's go over to Friday. We have 82% of the tickets and 97% of cash on the over, and it's dropped 3.5 points. That is wild. And then you have 87% of tickets and 90% of the cash on Niagara. We've moved a point. Take it away for us here. Bobano, you've had a great read on these Purple Eagles. What's your thoughts here?
I'm going to back him again. I am. I'm a little concerned that you go on the road, you beat a solid Mount St. Mary's team, and I worry at some point the shooting is going to regress just a little bit for Niagara. I mean, they have been an amazingly good offensive team lately. 96, 88, 78, 82. Their offensive efficiency is just absolutely off the chart right now. Greg Paulus is doing a nice job with this team. They've got inside-outside scoring balance on this Purple Eagles squad. They play extremely fast as well from a pace standpoint. They're just a very fun team to watch. I would put Niagara up there as probably one of the most exciting, fun teams to watch in this conference right now. They're second in the conference in offensive efficiency. Only Fairfield right now is better than them as far as offensive efficiency goes. They're not great defensively, though, Niagara. That's still the issue. That's why I've been on a lot of their overs as well. So it's been on this show, I think every Friday, it's been a trip to Niagara and the over, Niagara and the over. I mean, how many times have we been on both of those the last few Fridays? And I feel like I'm going back to that here. Now, the reason you're getting 132.5 with this game is because Marist isn't a good offensive team. Marist does not play fast, and Marist has been definitely trending under 8-2 in the last 10 games. But I always say the better team gets their preferred pace. The home team gets their preferred pace, and in this case, that's Niagara. So I think Niagara can inflict their pace, their tempo on Marist. They are the better of these two teams, in my opinion. You know what's funny about Marist is for years in this conference, they've been a good road dog. There's a lot of teams that have been good in the road underdog role in the Metro Atlantic over the years. That hasn't been the case for Marist, though, here in conference play. In fact, their 2 tries as road underdogs, they got blasted. Both of those games. At Fairfield, lose by 21. At Mount St. Mary's, lose by 17. So non-competitive Marist in their last 2 tries as road underdogs in conference play. So to me, it looks cheap. To me, it does. To me, Niagara just looks like a better team. They're surging right now. They're playing great basketball. 6-1 straight up in their last 7 games. How about 9-1 ATS in their last 10 games? They've been an absolute moneymaker. So I'm going to go with Niagara here, money line, minus 140 at FanDuel. And we're also going to grab over. Oh, you can get 131.5, minus 105 at FanDuel for the over. So another Friday, another Niagara and over for me.
Well, I can tell you last Friday, they cashed comfortably for you. And I was on with you on Niagara. I'm not going to be here. I will cheer you on from the side. I am a little uncomfortable with them.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm a little uncomfortable about this spot, but hey, I'm going to rely on the numbers. I'm going to rely on Niagara's been an ATS machine. It's not going to carry on in forever, but I'm still going to ride them. If this was, a few more points, like let's say Niagara's laying. I actually thought this number should have been closer to 4.5, 5, but it's not, and it's only 2.5. If this was 4.5, 5, I'm probably not on Niagara, but close to a pick 'em, I'll get in.
Let's roll on. We stay in the Metro Atlantic, 7 p.m. Eastern. Iona Gales, 8-10, 3-4 in conference at the Siena Saints, 3-15, 2-5 in conference. We're in Albany, New York for this one. Iona coming off the Sunday loss to Quinnipiac at Quinnipiac. That snapped their modest two-game winning streak. Quinnipiac shot 58.9% from the field and delivered here. Played great in the second half. It was basically a pick'em, and Quinnipiac rolled. Quinnipiac, a good basketball team. So that was on Sunday. Iona coming in off of the loss. And then we have the Siena Saints here. The size of their the amount of points that their dog has been shrinking a little bit here over the last little while. They did win at Niagara at 93-88, 11 days ago. Then on Friday, they lose by 12 at home to Quinnipiac. Then on Sunday, they lose by 2 at Marist. We did discuss that spot here. That's when Marist shot 12.5% from 3 and still won. Siena turned the ball over 20 times in the loss. I mean, this is some ugly basketball. Near the end of the first half, with 5 minutes to go in the first half, the score was 20-10 Siena. I mean, it's just this is some ugly Metro Atlantic basketball when Siena is a part of it. But they can cash as dogs. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have Iona sitting. Oh, I had it all set up. My bad. Iona sitting as 9-point favorites. They opened up at 8, went to 8.5, then went to 9. From a total side of things, this opened up at 140. We've dropped to 138.5. And then when we get to the cash flow for this spot, we have 75% of tickets, 81% of cash on Iona. Lines moving towards them a point, so all makes sense. 90% of the tickets on the under, and the line's moving there. Ronnie Briggs says he's been on Quinnipiac all year. Justin McKelvey saying Siena plus 8.5 is on his card. Miles Johnson, thank you. Says, hope you guys continue a bankroll show next season. Yes, I do too. I really, really enjoy working with Troy, and I can't wait for Sunday. Wow, it's so exciting. And the Andrew G on the simulator has Iona 79, Siena 70. Take it away for, and Morgan Spooner said they shot like 70% from the field for most of the game versus Niagara. Take it away for us here, and that was, you'll see them put up 93 against Niagara and 48 against Marist. What the hell are you going to get here? Maybe Bobano can shine some light. Iona Gale, Siena Saints.
This is interesting. Siena to me is a team that I think's been undervalued for a while. Like after an awful start, and they're still not good. I mean, we are talking about a team that's only won one game in their last 10. They're 3-15 straight up on the season. They're a bad basketball team, Siena. But we're talking about their point spread value. And their point spread value has been there lately. But you dig in a little bit further and look at what Siena has been doing lately, and you'll see that all the ATS success lately has been on the road. When you look at it, because Siena in recent games, look at their schedule. The road underdog role, they've been phenomenal, absolutely spectacular. 5 straight road games, all of them underdogs, 5-0 ATS. But here at home, it's been a different story. They get blasted by Cornell. They lose by 21 in December. Then conference play starts. And not to mention they lose to Bryant by 16 as 8.5-point dogs. Fairfield in conference play at home, they lose 93-69 early in January, earlier this month. And then their last home game, Quinnipiac, 5.5-point dogs, they lose by 12. So this has been a sharp home-road dichotomy team in reverse, because it's on the road they've been great, ATS, Siena. At home, they've been a disaster. And so I'm a little reluctant to take 8.5 with them, knowing just how awful they've been at home. And if you're Iona, you're coming into this game off a loss to Quinnipiac. You're going to look to bounce back. Now, their road play, it's just like I talk about, Siena hasn't been great at home, ATS. It's not like Quinnipiac or Iona has been great on the road. I mean, they lost by 12 at St. Peter's in one of their previous road conference games. They lost by 4 to Quinnipiac, their last road conference game. So you got a team that Iona, I can't trust them laying this number on the road. No way, but I'm a little reluctant to take Siena. They've been really bad ATS at home. Really, really bad. I mean, when's the last time Siena covered a point spread at home? I'm going to have to look because it's been a while. I'm just looking down their schedule. You have to go all the way. Holy shit. You have to go all the way back. Well, and it was a conference game, believe it or not. It was Ryder on December the 1st. It was an earlier in the season conference game. They were 3.5-point home underdogs. They won outright 67-65. Since then, this Siena team's gone 0-4 ATS and not even close to covering in any of those games. So it's probably going to have to be a pass for me here.
I get it. I completely get it. I also think that Iona is a little too public as well to back them at this number, and it's not, the books don't seem too concerned that 90% of the cash on it has moved a point in their direction, but I could see how neither is appealing. There's our guy Millsy, MMA Locker Room in the house. Great to see you, Millsy, my guy. Let's roll on. Next up for us, 7 p.m. Eastern, we stay in the Metro Atlantic for the Manhattan Jaspers, 4-12, 1-6 in conference, at the Canisius Golden Griffins, 7-11, 2-6 in conference. Head to Buffalo for this one. I want to see all these games in person in the next couple of years. So that's an important point of emphasis for me. I really want to watch these teams play up here in upstate New York. Manhattan just pack of losers right now. But I mean, you could say that about both squads, but the Jaspers are in the throes of, I mean, they beat Mount St. Mary's in overtime at home on December 1st. That was their last victory. They're in the throes of a 9-game losing streak. And, they're not horrific losses. they're not losing by 30, but lose by 7 to Fairfield at home, lose by 13 at home to St. Peter's. That was last week. Those were last 2 Sunday games. They lose by another 13 at Ryder. Actually, here's about it. They lose by 17 at Quinnipiac, 14 in Niagara. I take that back. These are all double-digit losses here. 12 by Wagner. I take that back. This is pretty ugly. The Fairfield loss wasn't so ugly. Bender went for 21 for them. But and they shot 45.3 from the field, which is better than they usually shoot. They were 8.5-point dogs, and they covered. So I mean, it's not a horrific last performance, but these Jaspers have yet to win since December 1st, a long time. And then we have the Golden Griffins. They have lost 3 straight. Their last win was at home versus Siena, and they barely got that victory. So these are 2 bad teams. They last played at St. Peter's. That was on Sunday. They were 3.5-point dogs, and they lost by 11. Shot 33.3% from the field. They shot worse from 2 than they did from 3. That's when you're watching a team shoot worse from 2 than they do from 3, you wonder, how did I get here? How did I get to the point where I'm hammering this Metro Atlantic Conference? Let's take a look at the line history here. There's been a huge move to the Jaspers. They opened up at plus 10.5 yesterday afternoon. They're all the way down to 7.5. Nobody should be a double-digit dog to Canisius. And the line has moved accordingly. From a total scenario, we are sitting here with a 144. This opened up at 142. It's gone up 2 points. And then from a cash flow scenario, here we go. From a cash flow scenario here, we have it with 76% of tickets, 86% cash on the over. And then we have 24% of the tickets and 51% of the cash on Manhattan. So it's sharp money that's coming on the Jaspers, and the line has moved heavily because of it. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Jaspers, Golden Griffins.
So Canisius is 1-6 in conference play, from what I see. 1-6 straight up, and their only conference win which was against Siena, who's not very good, and they were 9-point favorites. They only won by 4 in that game. I will take my Manhattan. Meanwhile, as we also did, they're 1-9 straight up. They've been brutal. They only have 1 conference win, and it was way back early in December at home against Mount St. Mary's, 75-74, and they've lost 9 straight games, and they've only covered 2 of those 9 games since then. That being said, I will take my chances in this game that Canisius is not good enough, and Manhattan's not bad enough to lose this game by upwards of double digits here. I'm on the Jaspers here, plus 8.5, minus 118 at Bobano. You look at series history as well. Manhattan won in overtime against Canisius last year. Manhattan won at Canisius, or Canisius won at Manhattan, but only by 7. Manhattan won at Canisius on this floor in overtime last year. Before that, we saw a 7-point Canisius win. Before that, we saw a Manhattan win. Before that, we saw a 1-point Canisius win. You go back and look, Canisius has not beaten Manhattan by more than 9 points, or by more than 8 points, I should say, since 2017 or 2018. That's the last time. Early 2018, January, 6 years ago, is the last time Canisius beat Manhattan head-to-head by more than 8 points, or 8 points or more. I think it's just too many points. There's no way I can trust Canisius with 1 conference win in recent games laying this kind of number. I know it's 2 bad teams, but series history, Manhattan's been competitive with this group. It's been pretty close. It's been pretty even. I'm happy to take plus 8.5 in my pocket with that notion.
I get it. I get it. It makes perfect sense. And getting the 8.5 with not too much juice is nice too. It's just moved a little too far at this point for me to come in now, but I completely understand the look, and Troy Torrance expecting to get there as well. Let's move on to the big one on the board, 8 p.m. Eastern. We have the Michigan State Spartans, 12-7, 4-4 in the Big Ten. At the number 13th ranked Wisconsin Badgers, 15-4, 7-1 in the Big Ten. We're in the Kohl Center in Madison, Wisconsin, and we've got 2 of our cappers on either side of the fence here. Perky putting 50% of his bankroll, something that we don't, we wouldn't push that. We bankroll bet size appropriate. It's something we push hard here, but Perky going all in on the Badgers, going up against Justin McKelvey. Stacks play today on Michigan State +3. Now they can both win. Kelly McInnes on Wisconsin -3. There's our guy Raven in the desert. Kent money line, St. Bonnie money line, Seattle money line +261 here. And then Raven and Desert on the over in this Wisconsin game. Ronnie and Bergie on the Badgers -2.5. Let's take a look at the situation here. Michigan State, winners of 3 straight, trying to turn their season around. They won at home versus Rutgers and Minnesota, both by double digits. And then they just got past Maryland 61-59. And that, I believe, was last Friday. Wasn't that last? No, that was Sunday. Excuse me. That was Sunday. So in that, Michigan State shot 43.8% from 3. They only scored 17 points in the second half, but still took care of business. They were up 12 after 1. So that is the Spartans here playing better basketball, winners of 3 straight. Wisconsin beat Minnesota just barely by 2 points there. That was on Tuesday, 61-59. We saw them last Friday when they beat up Indiana at home, 91-79. So just that Penn State loss is the only one that's kind of sticking out here for these Badgers, and Michigan State with the rest advantage. So let's take a look at the situation here from a line history standpoint. We have, here we go. We have Michigan right now +3 at -110. So Wisconsin opened up at -2, got up to 3, down to 2.5, 2.5. Now they're sitting at 3. Bovada hanging a 3.5. See how they've handled this. They opened it up at 3.5, and they're back at 3.5. This was a 2. So they moved back to 3.5 about just under an hour ago. Interesting. And then I'd be curious to see what Pinnacle's done with this one. Pinnacle has the 3 juice to Wisconsin. So this opened up at Pinnacle at 3.5. So at Pinnacle, there's been a half-point move towards Michigan State with the rest advantage. Interesting. From a total side of things, we are dealing with a 135.5. 135.5 at -110. This opened up at 140. Wow. So it's -118 to the under right now. That was a minute ago. A minute ago, there was an 8-cent move to the under. So there's going to be 135s abound, probably 134.5s as well. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this one. We got Coach Minton in the house. He's on the over 150. I'm going to copy and paste that because we haven't talked, but he is on Niagara -2.5 there as well. So let's take a look at the cash flow. You have 35% of tickets and 45% of the cash on Michigan State. The question is, how much have they improved? And we'll let Bobano answer that. When we take a look at the total for the cash, 82% tickets, 97% cash. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Sorry, my bad. 35% of tickets, 47% cash on the under. So 35% of cash, 45% cash on Michigan State. Are they improving to the point where they can go in to the Kohl Center and take out the Badgers? Bobano?
That's the big question. To me, I don't trust them fully on the road. Michigan State, we saw them lose at Illinois. They lose at Northwestern. Maryland, they had a big lead there, and barely hung on. I think if that game goes another 5 minutes, they probably lose that game at Maryland in their last. So they finally did get a Big Ten road win, but you know what I've said for years, I don't like going against these home courts in the Big Ten. I really don't. It's been one of the strongest home court conferences in college basketball, where home court has been absolutely spectacular for the most part, straight up in ATS, and nobody embodies that more than Wisconsin. They're 10-1 straight up at home. Look at these recent home games: win and cover against Indiana by doubles. They beat Northwestern by 8 on this floor. They beat Nebraska by 16, Iowa by 11 at home. They've just been really, really solid here at the Kohl Center in Madison. I'm not so sure I want to go against that. Part of me still thinks Michigan State, even though record right now shows that Wisconsin 14-4, Michigan State 12-7, and in conference play we've got Michigan State right now. Currently, we've got Wisconsin rather playing well in conference play here so far, sitting at a pretty good record, 7-1 in conference play. Michigan State only 4-4. I still think there's a lot more upside for Michigan State moving forward. And the one thing we know about Michigan State and Tom Izzo in particular, they get better. They get stronger later in the season. So watch out for Michigan State February into March. That's usually the time of year when They start to ramp things up, start to play better basketball, and get the job done. I have nothing on this game. I think it's a really fascinating game to watch. I'll be tuned into it. I think it's a really tricky game from a side perspective. I lean under as well in this game. I don't bet many unders because I suck at them, and I know the moment I bet an under, it'll lose. That is my track record with unders across all sports. But if I were to bet an under here tonight in conference play, or in this on this card, and if I were to bet an under on this card, one under, it would probably be this game. I think it'll be hard to produce points on both sides.
Troy hammering home the idea that it's so hard to bet road teams in the Big Ten, but I have to think that if you were looking for a line on the card that didn't make sense initially, you would point right at this game. This number is too small. Why is it so small? And so that makes Michigan State really appealing. I have to ask myself, can I get over, this home road issue for the Badgers because they're very strong at home?
This is the one conference for me. It's very tricky to step in front of home courts, especially a team when you see that straight up record of 10-1. That's tough to step in the way of that.
Both Ian Shaber and Kelly McInnes talking about what Wisconsin did at Michigan State earlier this year. And for Kelly, he says Wisconsin beat him by 13 last game, and this is in Wisconsin. Wisconsin by 8 is his prediction. And then, you see Torrey Coker, you see Justin McKelvey, both on Michigan State +3. Do you think that the revenge
angle matters? No doubt. There's truth to that. And especially when you're talking about conference play. And I know long term, the road underdog in conference revenge is, I think, a winning track record, ATS, long term across all conferences. That if you take a road team, specifically a road underdog, avenging a home loss to that same team earlier in the season, more often than not, it's a good angle. So that would point you in the direction of Sparty here tonight.
I find Michigan State extremely appealing here. This now, Troy Torrance says revenge and home court mean more in college basketball than any other sport, in his opinion. Now you have one on one side with the revenge and the home court on the other side. Troy saying, what was the line in game one?
Michigan State was 5.5-point home favorites in the first game in East Lansing, December 5th. They were 5.5-point home favorites. They lost 70-57.
Not Flush Allen saying, just like the Illinois number versus Northwestern the other day at +4, very, very fishy. You're absolutely right, Not Flush Allen. It's a perfect example. DC Capper also on the Spartans as well, but you're right, Not Flush Allen. And we moved on Northwestern, and we got paid. You know what? I expect to move on Michigan State. So at this point, then I would be sitting here with Ohio and Michigan State. And Perky, I would hope for a 1-point Badger victory, my friend. So let's roll on. Next up for us, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we have the St. Joseph's Hawks. St. Joseph's Hawks, 13-6, 3-3 in the A10 at the St. Bonaventure Bonnies, 11-7, 2-4 in the A10. We're in the Riley Center here in St. Bonaventure, New York. We've already heard from our guy Raven in the Desert, making using the Bonnies as part of a three-team money line parlay, including these Bonnies. I've not had a very good read on the Bonnies, and they're losing right now. They've lost 2 straight, both on the road. The last time they were at home, they destroyed Rhode Island, and that was on the heels of losing at home to Fordham. A lot of L's in their last few games, but they lose by 4 at Duquesne on Tuesday. And St. Joseph's played on Tuesday too. They won their 3rd straight. They beat UMass by a point at UMass. Now they also played Duquesne. They played Duquesne on Saturday at home, and they won 71-69. So both teams coming off very close matchups with Duquesne. And, even though they have impressive overall records, 3-3 in conference for St. Joseph's, 2-4 for the Bonnies. So they've got this is a must-win game for both squads. Let's take a look at the line history for this spot here. Line history-wise, we have the Bonnies as 2.5-point home favorites. They opened up at 3 and they moved to 2.5. So it's a half-point move towards St. Joseph's. From a total scenario here, We are dealing with a 144 minus 108. This opened up at 143. So we have a 1-point move to the over. And then when we get to the cash flow in this spot, we have 36% of the tickets and 61% of the cash on St. Joe's. Is this going to be my third team on the card sitting at +3? 39% of tickets and 52% cash on the over. Take it away here, Ronnie and Bergie are looking at the Hawks plus the points. There's my guy UPK Ayashala and the Eldorado custodian in the house. Says a great call on Georgetown over last Friday, Bobano. You cash side and total in that one.
Georgetown as well. That was a great game. Yep.
It was great. Yep. Yeah, I loved it. I was with you on Georgetown. Take it away for us here. I was a half point away from 6-1 in college basketball last Friday, listening to your breakdowns and talking with the chat and breaking it all down. Take it away here for us, St. Joseph's at St. Bonaventure. And Kent Davies says, my wife's name is Bonnie. I've been riding these Bonnies last few games. Pretty underwhelming, though. And he's talking about the team, not the wife. Take it away, Bobano. Hawks, Bonnies.
So St. Bonaventure's beaten this team 9 straight games. Bonnies are desperate. Bonnies are good at home. They have a solid home court as well. And St. Joe's is coming off a buzzer beater victory on the road at UMass earlier this week. This is not, to me, a St. Joseph spot. It is just not coming off that kind of victory. 3 straight wins, albeit 2 of them were at home. This is one of those conferences, the A10, where we're seeing some really steep differences with teams' performances home versus road. And St. Joe's is another one. At home, they've been really good. On the road, they've not been great. I mean, they did win and cover at UMass, but again, buzzer beater there. And actually, UMass kind of blew a lead. UMass was leading most of that game. So keep that in mind. And then before that, they lose as favorites at St. Louis. They lose as favorites at Rhode Island. They lose to Charleston on the road. So St. Joe's has not been very good here on the road. I think Bonnies are a good situational bet here tonight. They're off those back-to-back road losses to Duquesne and George Mason. They're back home where the last time, as you mentioned, they were at home. They steamrolled Rhode Island 99-64. I think they get back to that kind of level of play. I also like the over here in this game, 144, because I'm looking at series. St. Joe's plays fast. St. Bonaventure will want to slow it down. That's generally what you're going to want to get. But, St. Joe's a very good offensive team. They're a shaky still defensive team a little bit. Billy Lang's doing a nice job there, but defensively they're still a hit or miss. They're only 10th in the conference in A10 play and defensive efficiency. St. Bonnie shoots the ball a lot better at home. So I think when you look back here at this St. Joe's St. Bonnie game, I think it sets up well for the home team here. And I think we'll see points. It is worth noting the last 2 meetings at St. Bonaventure with St. Joe's versus Bonnie. And this is since Billy Lang's been there and since St. Joe started to play that faster pace, faster tempo. We saw 149 and we saw 165 points scored in those 2 games. Both of them would be good, enough to go over this number. So I'm going to be on St. Bonaventure here, minus 140 at Bet365 money line, and also over 142.5, minus 125 at Proline Plus.
Over 142.5 minus 125.
Yep.
And the money line at minus 140. Yeah, I don't have the conviction here that is required to be on the other side. So I'll let St. Joe's go. I'll let it go. I do want to, just as I go over what happened, I want to make sure that I have this in my notes that I would have been on it. But and then you got me off of losers last week, and then the one spot where I had the conviction cashed, and that's important. And that was with Mount St. Mary's last Friday. But that's important. It's so important. If you have the conviction to go up against Capital Respect, your ROI is going to be really good because of that conviction. If you don't have the conviction, just let it go. I'm going to let St. Joe's go. Let's move on to the 9 p.m. Eastern. Utah Valley Wolverines, 9-10, 4-4 in the WAC. We head to the Western Athletic Conference at Seattle. University Redhawks, 11-8, 4-4 in the WAC. We're at Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington for this. Utah Valley coming off a win, snapping their 3-game losing streak. That was on Saturday.
Climate Pledge Arena. Kraken are playing there tonight.
Oh, yeah. Why did I write Climate Pledge?
Climate Pledge, Seattle College Hoops, Seattle.
Yeah, the Kraken are there tonight.
Losing Kraken tonight. We talked about it earlier.
Sorry about that. But let's get back to this spot. The Utah Valley coming off snapping their 3-game losing streak with a win over the Trailblazers. 9.5-point favorites, and they shot 43.8 from 3, won the turnover battle, lost the rebound battle, which is something that has happened often so far for these Wolverines at Seattle U. There's my guy Rez saying, looking at one of those great bratwurst like at the brewery in San Antonio. Yeah, that I'm always so hungover at that brewery that it takes me 45 minutes of sweating before I can eat something. But I'm interested. I'll get it this year. For Seattle here, we have them 4-4 in conference. Another must-win situation. They also snapped a 3-game losing streak on Saturday, beating Grand Canyon 86-79 at home. 86-79 at home last Saturday. So you're wondering, did that game take place in the Climate Pledge Center? No, at Red Hawk Center with the 1,000 seat attendance. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have already heard from we have somebody on. Robert Franklin gave us the over 137.5 in this spot, over 137.5. And DC Capper on the other side, he is on the under. Yes, Troy, I'm moving on Ohio, so we're right on the same page in that one, my friend. From a total standpoint here, we are sitting with a 137.5. It is juiced to the over at minus 115. This opened up at 136, got up to 139, got up to 140.5. Wow. And then dropped down. And again, from the spread situation, we have Seattle minus 7.5. They opened up at 7. It's a half-point move towards them at 7.5. And then cash flow wise, we have 77% of tickets, 72% of cash on them. Lines moved a point in their direction. 47% of tickets and 93% cash on the over. Interesting. Kelly McInnes on Utah Valley plus the points. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Wolverines, Redhawks.
Yeah, this is an interesting. I mean, Seattle's in revenge. So Utah Valley won earlier this year, back in November, 78-72 at home in that game. So it's a revenge spot for the Seattle team going into this one. The conference numbers though aren't necessarily all that spectacular when you look at it. They're 8th in offensive efficiency, 4th in defensive efficiency, but Utah Valley, meanwhile, they've kind of been even worse. 9th in offensive efficiency, 7th in defensive efficiency coming into this game. We'll see how it goes. Seattle, to me, though, they've got a pretty strong home court. They're in revenge. I would lean to them. I didn't feel totally comfortable laying 7.5, 8, but I would lean a little bit in that direction toward the Seattle side in this game. Worth noting, Seattle lately, they've been scoring a lot more, and I'm trying to figure out, is that just the offensive improvement, or is it a product of who they've played? And they played Rio Grande Valley, a pretty fast-paced team. They played Arlington, not great defensively. Stephen F. Austin and Grand Canyon are another couple of teams that play at a decent pace as well. Arlington as well plays fast. Like I said, UT Rio Grande Valley. So we'll see if that was just a product of who they played. Utah Valley, meanwhile, they've been more of up and down as far as their games over or under. But you look at the series history here with these two teams, and we have seen 2 of the last 3 meetings go over the numbers. So I'm tempted by the over, but I think I'm going to lay off this game.
Brizzy saying Valley 1-8 on the road, Seattle 10-2 at home. Says very simple cap, and Julio Vila liking Seattle here. Coach Min says clear Seattle's a better team. Just not sure 7.5 is the number. I'll probably stay away from this game. They beat Grand Canyon at home last out. But it took them a while to get going. They lost outright in the first half. And then if you look at their home game before that, which was before the 3-game road trip, was a 48-46 win over Cal Baptist, where they shot 11.1% from 3 and 37% from the field. So while I agree that Seattle's a better team and Seattle's at home, and I agree with all that, I'm with Coach Minton where I just, that 7.5 might just be a little much here. So I'm going to stay off the spot. And there's only one game left before we get into NBA. So let's talk about it right now. And Coach Minton, he gave us this spot over 152.5 for Coach here. Let's talk about it. Stanford Cardinal 10-8, 5-3 in the Pac-12 at the California Golden Bears, 7-12, 3-5 in the Pac-12. We're in Haas Pavilion here for this one. Let's pull up the rest situation for these two squads. Again, this is our final spot on the college basketball card. We did have the added game because of the postponement yesterday, but just a 9-game card here for us. Stanford's won 3 of 4. They're coming off a home victory over Washington, 90-80. We know they like to score in bunches. Cal coming off an 81-75 win at home over Washington State to stop their 2-game losing streak. They lost by 7 at Oregon, and then lost at home to the Huskies by 2. Now, they've been good at home, and they beat Colorado by 4 at home, and they're coming off that win over Washington State in overtime. Both teams played on Saturday. Let's get into the line history here for our final spot on the board. We have Cal right now as 2.5-point favorites. This opened up as a pick'em, and there was an immediate move. In 11 minutes after this opened up at BetOnline, they moved it 2.5 points towards them. Now, some deemed that too much, and it went to 1.5. But then it got back to 3 this morning. It's sitting at 2.5. So we have a 2.5 move at BetOnline. I'm curious to see what Pinnacle has done with this. Pinnacle has this at 3 for Cal. They opened it up at 2.5 and went down to 2, but now it's back to it just moved back to 2.5 14 minutes ago. So this is now, at Pinnacle at this point, there's been a 5-cent move towards Stanford. Interesting. Let's get into the cash flow here for this spot. We have, the total for this spot, that 152.5. We already heard Coach on the over. This total opened up at 153.5, dropped all the way down to 150 before there was buyback. It's back at 152.5 right now. Brizzy looking at Cal money line here, and we get to the cash flow. This will tell the tale. 22% of the tickets and 81% of the cash on Stanford. Fascinating, wild. Then 92% of tickets, 95% cash on the over. Coach says both can score. Both defenses below average. I think Stanford wins outright as well. Better shooters and much better passing team. Let's hear what Bobano has to say about the final spot on the board here for college basketball. Stanford Cardinal, California Golden Bears. We finished with Pac-12 action.
Yeah, a big game rivalry here, basketball version with Stanford and Cal. We got an interesting angle here. I like Cal, first of all, in this game. I think Cal's the side to look at. Jared Bynum may not play for Stanford. He's a big cog for them offensively. That's an important injury that you want to monitor, but there is a chance he doesn't play here in this game. Cal, to me, is playing better, and Mark Madsen was a nice hire. He did a great job at Utah Valley there. And when you look at this Cal team, another thing to keep in mind when Mark Madsen's team struggled earlier in the season, they had a lot of injuries as well. You know, there were a lot of key pieces out of that team, out of that rotation for the Golden Bears. As conference play started, they've gotten a bit healthier. And look what they've done here since the early part of January. They go on the road. They win outright at UCLA. They beat Colorado at home. They hang tough at Oregon and cover the number. They're right there against Washington and lost by 2. And then, of course, they beat Washington State at home in their last game, 81-75. They're healthier, and they're playing better basketball, this Cal team. Stanford's a little erratic. I know they've played a little bit better lately. They're 5-2 straight up their last 7 games, the Stanford Cardinal. But they're coming off a big home win against Washington, 90-80 in their last game. The one thing we've seen from them at times going on the road, up and down play, they didn't cover at Oregon State on the road. They lost to USC on the road. In fact, their only recent road win and cover was UCLA, who, of course, have not had the season people expected. And then they got blown out by San Diego State. So I don't trust Stanford fully on the road, especially when they're off a win. They've been a little too erratic, inconsistent for my liking. So I'm going to go with Cal. I think they are on the upswing. I've been cashing some tickets lately with Cal. I think they've been undervalued for a few weeks, and clearly their ATS numbers point that out. So I like Cal here, minus 134 money line at FanDuel. So Cal minus 134. And I like that over as well. You look at these two teams, they're top 200 in pace. Both of them are going to play fast. That's the one thing about Cal that's been much different with Madsen, is that they're playing a lot faster. Stanford has really increased their tempo this year, too. So you're going to have teams pushing the basketball down the floor really on both sides. So I expect to see plenty of points. Neither team's very good defensively, and both of these teams are better offensively. So over 151.5, minus 115 at BetMGM for the total. And it's worth noting, too, Mark Madsen is a guy that played his college hoops at Stanford. And he was in the running for maybe, they considered maybe making him Stanford head coach, but they retained Haas, and now he gets to coach against them. I think Mark Madsen would really want to beat Stanford here tonight in this game. And so, hey, You know what? You passed on hiring me, and I'll show you what a mistake that was. So Cal for me, money line over the total as well.
You got it. Sorry, I was just writing it in, Rez, but it's taking too long. But if you upgrade your membership to gold, you will be automatically entered in every horse race, every Wednesday and Friday. $50 to win. I just got to upgrade to gold. Keep that up here while we discuss the situation here with all of our action in college basketball. Again, Bobano coming off back-to-back 10 and 6 weeks. So he's 20 and 12 over his last 2 weeks, and he's fired into the black in college basketball this year. Bobano's on Arkansas State, Louisiana over 154.5 and minus 120 to start his card. That is the game that was postponed yesterday. Bobano's on the over 146.5 and minus 118 in Ohio, Kent State. I'm going to be on Ohio. Bobano's on Niagara minus 140 and the over 131.5 minus 105. Our guy Ron Crawford has joined us, and he is also Niagara spreadsheet play of the day. And Smoothball's play of the day from Jay Smooth is Marist Niagara over 132.5. Iona, Siena, we stayed off. Bobano's on Manhattan at plus 8.5. And we have Justin McKelvey stacks play of the day on Michigan State. Perky is on Wisconsin money line with a huge bet. And I'm going to join Justin on Michigan State plus 3. So that looks like it's going to be my only action will be Ohio and Michigan State, both plus 3. Because at this point, I've been talked off of St. Joe's. Bobano's on St. Bonaventure and the over 142.5. St. Bonaventure's won one of their last 5. It's a must win for both teams because, the Bonnies are 2-4 in the A10. I mean, you can't go down 2-5 in the A10. I mean, it's just done. But I need to think about this a little more here, but at this point, that would be my only 2 spots. And Bobano's also on the over 142.5 in that Hawks Bonnie spot. Robert Franklin's on the over 137.5 in Utah Valley, Seattle. Bobano and I stayed off of it, but Bobano is on the Cal money line minus 134 and the over 151.5. By the way, Coach Minton is on that over in Stanford Cal, and he's on St. Joe's plus 2.5 and Niagara minus 2.5. And there you go. There you go. Bobano, spectacular work here, my friend.
I'm at it playing college basketball, and it's one of the ones you're on. And I'm just because we talked about it. It's that angle we talked about in the Big Ten game with Michigan State, Wisconsin, where it's a road underdog in revenge for a home loss as a favorite earlier in the season. And I'm looking at the numbers the last, I think, 3 years, 57% ATS. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good long-term track record. And then I'm looking at the series history, Michigan State, Wisconsin. Road team success all across recent games. Wisconsin won and covered at Michigan State earlier this year. But at Wisconsin, Michigan State won and covered last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You get my point. Michigan State has had no problem getting the job done in Madison at Wisconsin. So I am going to add Michigan State plus 3.5, minus 110 at Caesars.
I love it. And a great getting that hook.
Yeah.
Michigan, I'm going to try and get that hook too. Michigan plus 3.5, minus 110 at
plus
Caesars.
3.5 are at Caesars, BetMGM, and FanDuel, based on what I see right now.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Locked in. I love that you're jumping on that one as well. So for sure, I'm on Michigan State and Ohio. Looks like that probably will be the extent of my card. Bobano, stay hot. Please stay hot. It's very important. Please stay hot and get that cash. Bobano, also, big question here. We're going to have different guests on both football games. Which football game can you join us live for on Sunday?
We'll do the first half like I usually do of one of the 2 games, and it's probably going to be the Lions game and 49ers, the Sunday night game.
Okay.
Actually, early Sunday evening game. It's not really a true night game because it's like at 6:30, 6:45. But yeah, that's the one we'll pick. We'll do the first half of that game on Sunday.
Beautiful. Beautiful. You are in a business, my friend, in business. Thank you for all your hard work. I'll go over your NHL again at the end of the show. Please support our guy Bobano on X and with everything that he does here. And remember, Bobano doesn't have his Twitter account. Bobano, is that still the same? Like, Bobano, can you jump back on?
Yeah, we're going to eventually get another personal one, but for now, at the _Ice Guys, we'll open up a new one pretty soon.
All right. Well, we love you, man. I hope you get that figured out, and thank you for all your hard work. Any last words for the Cappers?
No, other than just good to be with you guys. Good to be with Jimmy as always every Friday. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. Let's cash some tickets and let's make it a great weekend.
I love it. There he is, Bobano. And Chase J says, yes, sir. Michigan State first half my line in full game plus 3.5. Thinks they win outright. They match up well. Here we go. Joe T has a slight lead, but here comes Slaughter on the outside. You don't want your horse to make a run, with 31 minutes left. I mean, we still got 2,000 furlong, 5,000 furlongs left in this thing. So 5,000 a little much, probably 2,000 furlongs left in this thing. Subhuman Gaucho making a move, star of the Subhuman Soccer play of the day. There's Kent Davies. Kent Davies working from home today, and look at that. I like the silks on Kent Davies. Speaking of silks, we got donut silks in the house. I can't find donut silks here, but he'll make an appearance. Here comes Preston Ekdahl on the outside. And there's C-Mac. C-Mac making a power move as well. All right, so let's roll into NBA and bring on the star of Fridays here on Betting with the Bag. You can also roll with him in San Antonio. He's a big part of our weekend in San Antonio. You're going to love rocking with this guy. And he put a lot of cash in our pockets as well. Can you just imagine when you're at Pubapalooza, we're all live betting round 1 of March Madness together. I mean, it's the perfect situation for you to get that cash and for us to get that cash. And we sure did that last week. So there's a line of horses up front with 30 minutes to go. We'll pop into that every once in a while. But please welcome your star of Fridays here, star of the Trill OG play of the day, coming to us from Houston, Texas, our guy, LJ from HTown.
Pub Sports Radio's the crew, that's a fact. We all about bread, making bank accounts fat. Who the hell is that? LJ from the H, I stack green like Boston. Shout out to Nasty Nate from down south, where we ride on slabs. 420 highway smoking with that boy Dabby Cab. Swing by Dallas with them Cowboy fans so we can smoke out J Money, cause you know that's our mans. Us against the bookies, put money in our pockets. Fly out to Vegas, meet up with Ski Profit. Hit the sports books, we got money to stack. Can't forget them college picks with that boy Connor Mack.
LJ, what's good, my man? How are you?
Jimmy, I'm doing great. Happy Friday to you. Love joining you, breaking down this NBA card like we do. I didn't like this card pretty much, Jimmy. I only moved on one play. Maybe we can talk some things out, see if we can find some more, but not the best of cards this Friday. But hey, let's see if we can dive in, see if we can find some money for the people.
Absolutely. Let's do just that. Just setting my NBA everything up here for NBA, and we are in a business. So let me just get the game time decisions, as they are a enormous part of all this. Lock that in, and let's get to work, my friend. It is a big card ahead of us, so at least we're going to have opportunities for moves. I've not moved on anything myself, and we've heard a ton of interest in this first game. Lot of cappers on the Dallas Mavericks. Speaking of a capper on the Dallas Mavericks for the spreadsheet play of the day is our very own Ron Crawford. Great to see you, Ron. Dallas Mavericks spreadsheet play of the day for Ron Crawford. So the question and the added volatility in this spot is who is going to be playing point guard for both of these teams? Do we expect? Well, I guess Luke is going to be the point guard, but who knows who plays point anyways on the Mavs when Kyrie's on the floor too. But Kyrie and Trae Young, both game time decisions, and a lot of people believing that they're both going to be out. DeAndre Hunter out as well, and then you got Fernando, Capella, and Matthews as game time decisions. So we have the volatility skyrocketing here in this spot. Mavericks 24-20, 11-9 on the road. Atlanta Hawks 18-26, 8-12 at home. State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. I can't even look at my notes without seeing Herter missing those 2 foul shots last night at the end of the game. I can't even focus. I just wanted to reach my hand through the TV and slap him in the face so badly. Dallas 1-4, 98.4, 0 possessions a game, 16th in the league over that stretch. Atlanta 2-3, playing at a much slower pace than they are used to. Trae Young being off the floor is a big part of it. 99.40 possessions a game. Let's get into the line history here for this one because it's suspicious, man. It is suspicious. The Mavericks are sitting here at -1.5. They opened up at -1.5, got up to 2, got up to 2.5, and then fell back to 1.5. I imagine that this is going to set up market wise. We'll go over it, but I imagine it's going to be screaming for me to bet Atlanta. But can you, after how angry Luka was with the way they played? I mean, when the star player, when we talked about, we'll see Doughty called out the Kings. Are they going to be ready to go in the first period? Hard to say. Let's take a look at the total here for this one. We are sitting here with an extremely high total. We're dealing with a 244.5. I mean, that is just astonishing. These teams, neither of them are playing at 100 possessions a game, and we got this total. This opened up at 243. It climbed up to 245. It's down to 244.5. I mean, it's so ridiculous. It's just it's hard to comprehend that they think, well, we don't even know if Kyrie and Trey are going to be in. I mean, I imagine that one or both of them are going to be announced out, and that total drops 3 or 4 points. I still trying my hardest not to bet it. You have 91% of the tickets and 89% of the cash on the Mavericks, and the line's not moving. Good God. 18% of the tickets, 34% cash on the under. Jesus. This is messed up, man. This is just Dallas could be obviously without Kyrie and Trey. Mavericks coming off their third straight loss, 132-109 at home versus Suns on Wednesday. You know that hurt, because anytime I think of Dallas and Phoenix, I think of Luka smiling, in Booker's face. I immediately, Kyrie probably not going to be in the lineup. He sprained his right thumb on Monday, didn't play in that loss. And he's, averaging 25.2, 5.3, and 5.1. You should see those numbers when Luka's not on the floor. Luka had 34, 8, and 9. They've been playing without Dwight Powell for the last 2 games due to this left eye abrasion, and he's out here. He's not going to be in the lineup. So nice to have Powell coming off the bench. He brings a lot of energy. DeJounte Murray has been very good. Young's in concussion protocol. He was also sick and then concussion protocol. DeJounte 23, 7, and 7 in the loss to Golden State on Wednesday, 134-112. He's averaging 21.4 and shooting 46 from the field, 38.7 from 3. They have not had DeAndre Hunter now for 17 games with the right knee inflammation. Bruno Fernando with the back spasms. Wesley Matthews with the right calf injury. Take it away for us here. What a suspicious, fishy spot. Mavericks, Hawks.
Yeah, Jimmy, you're right. Very suspicious. And that's what I circled. I think the line is just too short, and it's a lot of volatility missing. Dallas is missing a lot of their players. The Hawks are missing their star player. Plus, both of these teams are on 3-game losing streaks. So I just don't have any interest in it. We don't know, like I said, who's playing. Now, Luka is probably the best offensive player on the court. So looking at his points and his PRA is always a good look. But, I see why they're saying that it's going to go over, because everybody knows at home the Hawks 12-7 to the over at home. But are we going to trust that points are going to be scored with all this roster manipulation? In my opinion, nobody knows who's playing, so where are the points going to come from? So it's kind of hard to gauge it. Plus, the Hawks have the second worst winning percentage in the NBA, so I'm definitely not looking at them. So if anything, it'll be Dallas or nothing. But I haven't moved on it just because it's Luka and nobody else. Because if Kyrie was in the game, I think I feel better in betting Dallas, but I don't know if he's going to play. So for that reason, I just stayed off.
I think we can expect Kyrie not to play. The question is, do we think that Trey is, when you deal with the concussions, it's so much more difficult to know when someone's going to be ready. Does anyone know if he was at shoot around? Does anyone know if he was around this morning? There's Big Show picks in the house.
Show.
Johnny K on Mavs first quarter. DC Capper on the under 244.5. I mean, Troy Torrance says, I'll wait. Hope Trey gets announced out and look towards the Hawks. Maybe that's the perfect way of handling it.
Yep.
But then bet the under now. I don't know why I have this sick need to bet the under in some of these spots, but I find it impossible to see 2 teams that have under 100 possessions a game for us to expect offensive efficiency with all of the roster manipulation that you spoke of. I just find that impossible. Now, I'm not saying it won't happen, but I find it very, very difficult to believe. And then
they would have to be hitting their threes. if they're hitting threes, then the total may get to that number. But we can't trust it because who knows who's going to be hot from the arc. That's how I'm looking at it. Because Dallas shoots a lot of threes. That's what they do. Hardaway Jr., Luca, that they'll step back and shoot a three, with 20 seconds on the shot clock. They don't care. So I'm thinking that's where the books are probably trying to gauge it to where's the offense going to come from. So, but we don't know. We don't know who's playing.
I'm looking at my spreadsheet here right now. I've made so few total bets this year, and it's in my head, and I'm losing them all because I'm trying to stay away from them and then pick the spots, when they work out best. But I
like that Torrance. I'd rather shoot dice bet totals.
There's our guy BJ in the house. Smoke and Mirrors also rolling with us. Great to see you guys. This is a must bet on the under. It's the trends that have moved this towards the over.
Yep.
It's not the X's and O's here. Ziggy Balls. Nice to see Ziggy Balls. We don't get enough Ziggy Balls on the show. Great to see you, Ziggy. Ziggy ran with us when I started up in Costa Rica. Okay. You're the man, Res Mob. We got to get you in that horse race. We have 20 minutes left. We'll go do that in a second. Okay, I've got to move on the under here, and I like Troy's sentiment. Wait for Trey to be announced out, and then move on the Hawks. And that's that. Okay. God. Fuck. All right, let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern. Next on the board, Houston Rockets 20-23, 4-15 on the road. North End are saying clearly Atlanta or pass. I agree. At the Charlotte Hornets, 10-32, 5-14 at home at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Sammy, are you going to move on the Hawks now, or are you going to wait? I'd be curious to hear how you are handling that. But you're right. It's now clearly I can understand why Ron Crawford's spreadsheet would have led him to Dallas, though. I get the whole thing. I get everything. Oh, he's going to wait too. I think. And then I guess, Sammy, if Kyrie's announced in and if Kyrie's announced out and Trey's announced in, then we lost. Then it was a mistake waiting. So it could go all different ways. But Houston 1-4 over their past 5, playing at the 20th fastest pace in the league, 97.92 possessions a game. Charlotte 2-3, playing at the 21st fastest pace, almost the exact same at 97.9 possessions a game. Here we have LJ's Houston Rockets in play. Let's discuss the spot here from a line perspective. We have Charlotte plus 5.5 at minus 105. They opened up at 5.5. This got to 6 for a little bit, but it's right back at 5.5. So we have absolutely no movement in anything. No movement on the juice, no movement in anything. Then from a total side of things here, we're dealing with a 223.5. It opened up at 225. It's been all over the place. It got down to 223.5 and it went back up to 224.5, back to 223.5. But we have a 1.5 move towards the under. We take a look at the cash for this spot. You have 65% of the tickets and 84% of cash on the under. And then you have 23% of the tickets and 54% of the cash on Charlotte. Oh, man. God, the books are wanting. Oh, God, I'm going to have to bet Charlotte here. Rockets coming off their second straight loss, 137-131 in overtime at home versus the Blazers on Wednesday night. I do not want to fade the Rockets after the debacle last Wednesday. The Hornets coming off their second loss in 3 games. I mean, but they lose at the Pistons. Maybe I don't need to do anything. Maybe I can just stay the fuck away from this basketball game. Brandon Miller gone for 23 or more in 4 straight games. And only Zoe is the only Hornet to ever do that as a rookie. And then, we have Nick Richards back. He missed a week because of an ankle injury. He scored a career high 21. So it's important to have Richards back in the lineup. And then we have the first game in a Hornets uniform for Kyle Lowry. Last week on the show, you gave Kyle Lowry over 3.5 assists. And I was like, has it come to this? He played terrible in that basketball game and he got 4 assists. So you catch that. But God, it's just, wow. Maybe you can shine some light on your hometown Rockets in this spot. Rockets Hornets.
Yeah, not the best situation for the Rockets. Like you just mentioned, they're coming off that horrible overtime loss versus Portland. They should have definitely won that game. But I was kind of hesitant. I took the first half and they pushed, but I was kind of hesitant on the full game because of how Portland plays so well on back-to-back. And they proved that they covered the spread and won outright. So good call for me. But as far as this game, I couldn't come to nothing, Jimmy. Both these teams are struggling right now. Both teams are 2-8 against the spread last 10 games. Houston does not play good on the road. 4-15, 6-12-1 against the spread. They're only 5-12 versus the East. 1-8 on the road versus the East. Now they are the favorite, and they've only been favored 2 games as a road favorite. So is this the one they get their third win? I just can't see it because, like I said, Tyree Eason is very important to this team, and until he gets back in that lineup, I can't bet the Rockets confident enough. So it's just until he gets back, man. I'm just gonna have to stay off my team as far as picking them on the 4 games. They've lost 7 out of their last 9, so they're just reeling right now. And Charlotte is no worse, like 3-12 versus the West, 22 losses against the spread as a dog. So no interest right here, Jimmy. But I am going to jump on the prop just to get some action going. We're going to jump on Segu, PRA, over 39.5. I got it at -115. He's hit 40 plus PRA in 3 straight games. He is the offense for us. He goes through the pick. We sort of use him like Jokic. He can go off the pick and rolls and screens, find players, get their shots. So I'm going to trust that he gets his points, rebounds, and assists because Charlotte is very vulnerable inside, in my opinion. You can score on them. So Sagoon, PRA, over 39.5 is what I'm going to jump on in this game, but I had to stay off the side.
Well, I'm going to. God, I hate saying this out loud. I'm going to bet the Charlotte Hornets in this spot here. I'm so excited to see what Kyle Lowry does because I expect him to man up and to be a leader and to show other teams that he's malleable and able to play in this situation that some players would just sit out and demand to be faced up.
Yeah, you're right. I thought he was going to get bought out. To be honest with you, I didn't think he wanted to play for Charlotte. So
he still might get bought out, right? The idea is to show that he's worth something right now, and if he's not, then buy him out in the next couple weeks. So, but yeah, so I expect him to show character in this spot. So you got Sengun. What was the number again? Over 39.5.
Yes, -115.
Nice assist. -115. I'm going to see if I can beat that line when we break down the next spot on the board. Piker says, but it may take time for the Hornets and Lowry to learn to play together initially. Lowry's a simple player, and he's slow. He doesn't move quickly. So it's not, I don't think it's Scary Terry going to the Heat is a much more dramatic change. Scary Terry flying all over the floor because he's so fast, all that stuff. But Kyle Lowry's just he's gonna be quiet. I mean, not vocally, but he's just he's gonna try to feed everybody, try to get everybody. I think he's going to be easy. I think he's going to be malleable in this spot. I'm going to be on the Hornet here. I'm not betting it though because Kyle Lowry's playing his first game as a Hornet. Please, I'm betting it because this is a fishy line situation. I think the Hornets can stay in this game. I don't think that the Rockets have any reason, to. And it feels like things are starting to settle in Charlotte. And if it's just going to be all LaMelo all the time, I get that. But let's roll. Let's roll. A lucky lefty saying Lowry on downslide. Oh yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. All right, let's move on. Next spot on the board for us, 7 p.m. Eastern. Phoenix Suns, 26-18, 12-7 on the road at the Indiana Pacers, 24-20, 13-9 at home at Cambridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. Phoenix, 5-0, of course. They've won 7 straight, 5-0 over the last 5, playing at 10th fastest pace in the league, 99.80 possessions a game. Indiana, 2-3, playing at 100.7 possessions a game. Take a look at the line history here for this spot, and also see who is being arrested. Of course, Halliburton out. Gordon game time decision. So not a ton going on in this one here. And Lowry's out. I thought he was going to play tonight. I read that he was going to play. Can somebody type that? And I'll do that too. Maybe Jose can. Jose, can you look up and study whether Lowry is going to play tonight? I've got him listed as out here, but I read that he was going to make his debut tonight. So Jose, if you could gather that information for us, that would be really helpful because I just sound like an ass clown if that had any part of my capping and he's not going. Lowry is out officially. Okay. Okay, thank you. God, I had read this morning that he was making his debut. Fucking annoying. Okay. I don't think that's going to take me off of. I don't think that's going to take me off of Charlotte. I mean, exactly what was Lowry going to do? He was going to come in and play, 15 minutes, maybe 12 minutes, backing up LaMelo?
Maybe. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sean saying, got to be an under here. Let's talk about it. But let's get into the line history first for this spot. We have Indiana as 4.5-point dogs. That's exactly where they opened. So this opened up at Pinnacle at 4.5 this morning at 6:49 in the morning. So there's been there's been just a 5-cent move to the Suns. That's it. 5-cent move. We do see some fives to other books, but that's Pinnacle. Then from a total perspective, we are dealing with a 243.5. It is juiced to the over. This opened up at 243. It's a half-point move to the over. The Suns come in. Oh, let's take a look at the cash flow. From a cash flow perspective here, we have 65% of the tickets and 97% of the cash on the Phoenix Suns. 97% of the cash in this line is not moving. 21% of tickets and 75% cash on the under. This is wild. What did that under do again? God, I don't want to have to do this. A half-point move to the over. Okay. We have the Suns coming in off their 7th straight win, 132-109 at the Mavericks on Wednesday. Booker went for 46. He's just rolling right now. And they've beaten Indiana 5 straight times. And then they played on Sunday, a 117-110 victory in Phoenix. Durant went for 40 in that. Booker 26, Beal 25. Pacers are on the second half of back-to-back after snapping their 3-game losing streak last night in a 134-122 win at home over the Sixers. Siakam went for 26, 13, and 10, his 6th career triple-double. No Tyrese Halliburton, strained left hamstring. He'll miss his 4th straight game. And Miles Turner has looked a little better. I mean, the guy, he would drive me crazy watching him. I mean, you have all the tools to step up and be elite. So go do it. Take it away here, LJ. Suns, Pacers. The market's telling us that the Pacers are live, but do you want the Pacers after they look so good against the Sixers is questionable. Take it away, LJ.
No. This is a Sun spot right here, Jimmy. We're not stepping in front of the hottest team in the NBA right now, in my opinion. They've won 7 in a row, like you just mentioned. They're 9-4 versus the East, 4-0 versus this division, the Central Division. So I'm liking the Suns' chances tonight, 8-2 in their last 10 games. But against the spread, they're 3-8-2 against the spread versus the East, 3-2 on the road. So they don't really cover spreads. They do win the game, but they just don't cover the spread. Now, as far as the Pacers, they're the worst team in the NBA on a back-to-back against the spread, 1-7. They only won 1 game, covered the spread in 1 out of 8 games. So they're 16-7 to the over at home, though. So if you're looking at points, you may want to take the over because the Pacers do have a fast pace and they have a lot of shooters that can put the ball in the bucket. And we do know the Suns can give you 120 easily with Beal, Booker, and Durant if they're humming on the offensive side of the ball. So all that said, Jimmy, I want to take the Suns money line and parlay with the Magic. So if you can look at that and see what that'll give me. But I'm going to take a couple of props in this game. I'm jumping on Kevin Durant, ladies and gentlemen, over 28.5 points. I got it at -130 because he's averaging 30 points versus the Pacers. And he also had a 40 piece on them the last time they played. So I believe he will continue that.
And he's coming off a 12-point game.
Hey, there you go. So, yeah, I'm looking at Kevin Durant to have a good night. They don't play a ton of defense, so it's going to, I believe it's going to be a lot of points, but I think they can overcome that with the arsenal that they have. They do have the rest advantages I just mentioned, so I believe that they would take care of business tonight. They're all the hottest team. And I'm also going to jump on Bradley Beal, Jenny, over 19.5 points. I'm sorry, -110. He's averaging 22 points versus the Pacers, and he had 25 in the game last time they played the Pacers. Now, the reason why I'm doing KD and Beal, very simple. They played in the Eastern Conference. They know this team. They played them. Kevin Durant was with Brooklyn. Beal was with Washington. They played the Pacers in their division and conference, so they know this team. Not to mention the Suns' schedule coming up. I think they play the Heat. They play Orlando. And I think they play the Hawks, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So those are Eastern Conference teams they're about to play on the road. And Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal are used to playing these teams. So just keep that in mind during the weekend in this road trip. Think about Durant and Beal's points versus the Eastern Conference. But all in all, like I said, I want to. What was you can get me for the Suns and Magic money line, Jimmy?
My bad. I went over all of your player.
Okay.
see if I could beat them, and I can't. So let's give you the Suns and Magic money line parlay is at plus 123.
Let's lock it in because we talk about the Magic next, I do believe, right?
No, next up we have
Oh,
Clippers,
okay.
Raptors,
Okay.
but let's lock this in. So Suns, Magic at plus 123 for LJ.
I also want to mention the third quarter because the Suns are 28-15-1 against the spread in the third quarter coming out of halftime, which is the best team in the NBA. Now, the Pacers are 16-5 against the spread in the third quarter at home coming out of halftime. But that's usually versus the Eastern Conference. This is a Western Conference team now. So whoever comes out of halftime and wins that third quarter, believe me, they will win the game. So I will be looking at that live. I think the Suns will take care of business for a game, but I'm just going to jump on the money line considering how they're so shaky against the spread. I'd rather just take them for the win to try to get them to cover 5-point spread. So that's my angle.
I like it. I like it. Swiss says DraftKings are now reviewing his bets. Love it. Great job, Swissy. I love it. Chang, is that, would you put on a, because it would change, this will be, I would change my plan. Is this would you parlay what LJ and I give you for $200? Because if you will, then that will change my pick. If it's a straight bet, it'll be different. So let me know, Chang, because I'd be happy to lock you down, my man, and hope all is good your way. Kelly McKinnon says Biden and Trump capping any games today. Jimmy, Biden and Trump both cashed yesterday. We do have a special guest. We do have a special guest on today's show upcoming. And, you know, he saw that Biden and Trump were a part of the show and he wanted a piece of the action. So that will be coming up shortly. But let's move on to our next spot on the board. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Los Angeles Clippers 28-14, 9-10 on the road at the Toronto Raptors 16-28, 10-12 at home at Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario. Clippers running nice. They've won 3 straight. They're 4-1 over the past 5, playing at the 25th fastest pace in the league, 96.9 possessions a game. Toronto 1-4, playing at the 22nd fastest pace, 97.80 possessions a game. And you know, Kawhi coming home. I put on the championship hat. He's going to get a warm welcome. You know, we needed the perfect storm to get a superstar at that age to come to our team, and we got it. He came for a year and he brought us a championship, and we'll forever be thankful towards him. I would think that this would be a great Raptors spot early after their debacle last out. Just horrific display in that loss to the undermanned Grizzlies. The problem is they're fucking sad. They're sad that Siakam is not there. And they're sad. They're fucking sad. They're all talking about it. Pirtle was like whining about how he lost his best friend and his best friend, you know. And so I now see it a little differently. We had to get rid of OG and we had to get rid of Pascal from X's. OG didn't want to play here in Toronto, so we had to get him out of the room. And then Pascal Siakam was never going to lead us to a championship as the lead guy, but he wanted to play in Toronto. If we find a guy who wants to play in Toronto, I think we should just keep him in Toronto because we're talking about what, 4% of the league, 3% of the league. And so, you know, hearing Pirtle talk about how his best friend's gone, it made me angry. It made me also want to slap Pirtle in the face. Be a fucking man. But right. it does make me not expect necessarily a bounce back, and also hearing him like crying about his losing his best friend made me not know what the hell we're going to get from the Raptors here in the second half. So you know, it's I have no idea what this team is going to do here, and that loss to Memphis was rough, and I'm excited that Kawhi's back in Toronto. So let's take a look at the line history here. We have 8 -8 and -107 for the Clippers. They open up at 7.5, half point move towards them. You know, I had thought that I would move here on this spot. DG says blow it up, need to find something different. I get it, but you got to admit, DG, when you're talking about 3% of the league that wants to play in our city, it does make a Masai's job extremely difficult. This total opened up at 233.5 or up to 235.5. And look, we have Scotty Barnes till his rookie contract's done. I mean, can you believe T-Mac, Tracy McGrady didn't even want to play with Vince here? And I know there was different storylines behind all that, but it just sucks. This just fucking sucks, man. Then we got the cash flow for this spot. You have 40% of tickets and 47% cash on the over. On the spread, you have 34% of tickets and 77% cash on the Raptors. Yeah, I think the Raptors were until. Let me just set this up and hear you break it down. Clippers coming off their third straight win, 127-116 at home versus the Lakers. They won 11 of their past 13. They're 20-4 since December 1st. Kawhi went for 25, 11, and 10. Second career triple-double against the Lakers. He's playing great. Harden went for 23. Raptors coming off their third straight loss. I mean, what more can Scotty do? 22 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, and 6 blocks. Hurdle is close to coming back. He's not expected to play here. Jesus, look at the. Oh God, I don't even want to read his comment. It'll just make me angry. He's sad. He's sad. It's raining outside. Where's my best friend?
Yeah.
Okay, take it away for us, LJ. Clippers, Raptors.
That should help with the morale of the locker room, you think? This should be a Clippers spot. You know, they're humming 7-3 against the spread last 10 games. They've won 3 in a row. 7-3 versus the West. And they also won 7 out of the last matchups versus Toronto. But the thing keeping me off the Clippers, Jimmy, is the fact that they haven't been on the East Coast since November 8th when they played the Nets and the Knicks. So, yeah, and they also have a look ahead to Boston. So, are they going to even be into this game? Do they even really care about this game? I mean, I would say no. Just because Toronto, they're missing quickly, so they really don't have no business missing people, you know, with the flux that's going on with them. So, the fact that they don't have that point guard, they've lost 3 in a row, 2-8 in the last 10 games, 3-7 against the spread last 10. I mean, I'm not interested. So I just stayed off. Now the Clippers are 22-13 against the spread as a favorite. -7.5 is just too much for me. And like I said, just because they haven't been on this East Coast in a very long time, so I have to see how they respond to this road trip because they're going to be on this road trip a while. The Clippers and the Lakers are about to leave crypto because they're starting the Grammy road trip now. So all the artists are coming into town, practicing for the Grammy show. So it's going to be locked up for crypto. So Clippers and Lakers are on the road. But as of right now, I have to see how the Clippers respond on this East Coast road trip for me to invest any money in them. So I just passed.
I want to bet the Raptors so badly. It just, you know, and you talk about quickly being out. If we were a playoff team, this was a huge game. Obviously, you want Quickly in. But you know what happens when Quickly is out? And I hate saying this, but Schroeder is going to try.
Mm-hmm.
And we watch him not mentally in all these games. And when Quickly's playing a ton of minutes and Schroeder's on the bench, you know, you see him just sort of, I don't know, just mentally kind of.
I mean, let me ask you your opinion. Do you think Quickly should be starting over Schroeder?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
But you need to figure out how to keep Schroeder mentally. And we just saw what he could do when he's a team's everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they won the World Cup. Germany won the World Cup. So I think that Schroeder's going to be excellent tonight. And I want the Raptors badly, and I think I get to them. I just wonder here, is the public going to come in and push the? I mean, can we get an 8.5? You know, so I'm going to be on the Raptors here, and I don't want to be. I don't want to be on the Hornets either. But you have to plug your nose and make these bets, I believe, to be successful in NBA. And this is a terrible spot for the Clippers, isn't it?
Yes, I agree. That's why I'm not getting on it. I mean, I don't know how they're gonna respond to this. Like y'all all mentioned how tough it is to get into Toronto as well with all the distractions and customs and all that. I mean, like I said, I don't see how the Clippers will be motivated. Like you said, they're probably gonna cheer Kawhi on, giving him a nice response. So it's gonna be emotional, you know, all that stuff. So yeah, it just kept me off.
It'll be sold out Friday night. It'll be popping. I'd love to be there myself. All right, Raptors are gonna be on my card, but I do not plan on betting it at the end of the show. I'm gonna wait a little bit, see if I can get 8.5. And then if it gets to 9, maybe I should just stay off of it, you know, that kind of thing. But I plan to be on them. All right, let's roll on. 8 p.m. Eastern, Orlando Magic and Memphis Grizzlies here. And we have BJ's best bet on the Magic -5. Magic -5. Von Polo liking the Raptors to cover. And the one thing about this spot, though, is that the other players aren't going to care that Kawhi's back in Toronto. The Clippers guys, like, it's not like Harden and these guys are going to care at all. They're not. You know how you see players rally for their teammate?
Yeah.
That's not happening. They don't care. These guys couldn't care less. So. And then we have Von Polo saying Magic bets, the max bet. Ziggy Balls like Magic against spread. Kyrie's ruled out. Fuck, I haven't bet the under yet. Fuck, is it? Oh, that's annoying. It's still 244.5 right now. You know what? I should bet this. Well, I guess that we knew he was going to be out. It's more about Trey. Trey's the issue for the total. So maybe I can wait a second on this. Okay, so we have a lot of cappers here on the Orlando Magic. Let's talk about Orlando 2-3 over their past 5, playing at the 30th slowest pace in the league, 92.20 possessions a game. That's really slow for the last few years. Memphis 3-2, playing at the 18th fastest place. Joshua Alexander, Lucky Magic, first half. Let's take a look at the line history for this one. From a spread perspective here, we have Orlando sitting at -6 at -108. Memphis been playing over their head with these injuries, and it's Friday night at home in Memphis with no Ja and a terrible basketball team. I wonder how many. I'm going to take a look and see how many fans have been at these home games since Ja was ruled out for the year. But Orlando's gone from -5 to -6, and then from a total perspective, we're sitting here at 212.5. This opened up at 213. It got up to 214. It dropped down to 211, kind of being all over the place. And then when we get to the cash flow for this spot, we have 51% of the tickets and 81% of the cash on Orlando. Good to see 49 on the other side. Maybe you guys are just, not an example of the betting public, because you guys are, sharp cappers here in the chat who are all like Orlando, because maybe the betting public sees how bad they've been lately and sees how good Memphis has been, and that's why we're getting a split. It's not a split in the chat, but it's a split here with the ticket count. And then you have 59% of tickets and 88% of cash on the under. Magic coming off their third loss in 4 games, 126.99 at home versus the Cavs on Monday. Franz Wagner back. He's crucial. Yep. Just absolutely crucial. He missed 8 games with a sprained ankle. The Grizz coming off their second win in a row, 105-96 at Miami on Wednesday. Vince Williams, 24. I mean, you go back to that win over the he had 25 in his last contest. But Scottie Pippen Jr., 15, 6 and 6. No Kennard with right thigh soreness, and Aldama out as well, right knee soreness. Take it away for us, LJ Magic Grizzlies.
Yeah, Jimmy, we got action right here, all over the Magic. 3-0 against the spread as a road favorite, 10-3 as a favorite, 7-3 against the spread last 10 games on the road. So yeah, and like you always mention about your friend, always finding teams that get blew out by 20 some 30 something points. He always goes to that team next. This is the situation right here. So I know the Magic, they've had 3 days to rest. I know they've been thinking about that 27-point loss versus the Cavs, and they've lost 6 out of the last 8. So what better reason to get a win against a Memphis team that is really right now with injuries, and Memphis have won 2 in a row. Not to mention coming off a 4-game road trip, 1 game at home. Guess what they're doing, Jimmy? Flying right back out on a road trip for the next 4 games. So they might as well just keep their bags packed right there at the door, because you're heading right back out. And that tells me that they're not going to be motivated to win this game. So for that reason, I'm all over the Magic. I already parlayed it with the money line with the Suns, but I'm also taking the 5.5, Jimmy. I believe they cover it. And I'm going to take the under 212.5, because Memphis is 14-5 to the under as a home team, 8-3 to the under as a home dog. I don't believe Memphis gets to 100 points. So for that reason alone, I'm taking the under, and I believe the Magic is going to come out here and perform, because they have history versus this team. They beat them 4 straight times, but that was with Ja, Desmond, full cash. They don't have that cash now, and the Magic know that. Franz is back, like you just mentioned, their best player. They're very much healthy. I believe the Magic makes a statement tonight, gets back on the winning streak, and make up for that 27-point loss that they got smoked by the Cavs.
Makes perfect sense. And then I would like the Magic first quarter as well, expecting them to play seriously right off the hop. It makes absolutely perfect sense here. I'd like to join you on both of these spots here. Troy Torrance looking at Magic double result. BJ saying Magic pissed. Can you find a 5.5? Because the only 5.5 I can find is at -119.
I don't know.
I can get you 6s at -108. So it's up to you.
Yeah, we might. Yeah, we might. Yeah, I might just. Well, we might take them early. What are you thinking? First quarter, first half. What are you thinking?
No, I was going to take them first quarter and full game. First quarter and full game, because what I found here with these spots where I think it's a great position spot for them is when I take first quarter and first half, they will cash my first half, and then there's some sort of a letdown. We saw that with the Timberwolves. How about Timberwolves against the Wizards? When Timberwolves had lost 2 straight, they dominate the first half. They let the Wizards come right back into it in the second quarter, and then they dominate the third quarter, and it would end up being a push at 11. I think it was like 118, 107.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna take first quarter full game.
I'm riding with you. First quarter full game. Let's do it.
Okay, so LJ first quarter full game. So we're gonna give you the -6 and -108. You also have the money line parlay here. So then we'll move over to your first quarter spot. God, here, let me get this over. First quarter. You know what? I'm gonna line. Let's roll into our next spot, and I will line shop for you here. Our next spot, 8 p.m. Eastern. We have the Cleveland Cavaliers at Milwaukee Bucks, and Lamont Williams came in and gave us his max bet. Jared Allen double. Jared Allen double for our guy Lamont Williams. We're at Pfizer Forum for this one. Let's take a look at the line history for this Cavs spot. We just saw these two teams play. We made a lot of money off the Bucks. It was their first game after firing Adrian Griffin. Prunty was in charge. This total hasn't moved, 238.5. Oh, no, it has. It's dropped a half point to 238. So it moved a half point. I mean, you can imagine there'll be a lot more intensity than there was from the Cavs, at least. And then we get to the spread. The net snap that Cavs winning streak. We have the Bucks -6 at -103. They opened up at 5.5, so a half point move towards the Bucks. And then we'll get the cash flow here. Cash flow, 67% of tickets and 79% of cash is on the under. And then from a spread perspective, you have 37% of tickets and 69% cash on the Cavaliers to bounce back. But we have a half point move in the opposite direction. BJ going on Ravens money line for a best bet, a big bet. We love seeing that. Troy and I are all over the Ravens, so I love seeing that. Copy and paste that. Thank you for sharing that with us, BJ, my guy. We'll be live for that game. It's going to be a lot of fun. So then Cavaliers had their 8-game winning streak snapped in that 126-116 loss in Milwaukee here on Wednesday night. So take it away for us here, LJ. Cavs, Bucks.
Yeah, you would think theory, this is the zigzag effect. The Bucks, pretty much took care of business first game. So you would think Cleveland will bounce back in this game and keep it close. It may even win outright. But I didn't take the side. I was on the Bucks first half with all of us. You, Dutch, we all cash Wednesday night, Bucks first half. But I'm just going to stay on the sidelines for this one. I don't know how Cleveland responds. They may want to come and make an example for Milwaukee. Is this Doc's first game coaching, I do believe? Will he be on the sidelines coaching this game?
We're waiting to see. Is it confirmed that he will be on the sidelines?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see anything, but I just think that Cleveland will probably want to make a statement with him just, jumping in right now mid-season for the most part. He's still got to get acclimated with the team and, get his staff together. You don't know if he's keeping the same staff that Adrian Griffin has. So it's a lot of things going around in Milwaukee right now, and they got the little high off Wednesday. They were happy coming to work, rejuvenated. But now the dust has settled a little bit, so we're probably going to get back to reality because they still have to show that they can play defense. You see what I'm saying? That issue is still there. It ain't left because Adrian Griffin left. They're still going to have to figure that out. And they're not good versus the spread, versus the division. They're only 4-11 against the spread versus their division. 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games. But at home, they perform well. They're 14-2 at home versus the East, 6-1 at home. 6 at home versus the East, 14-2 overall versus the East. Sorry, at home. So all that, I think Cleveland bounces back. I'm not going to take it, But the fact that they're 7-3 against the spread, their last 10, 8-2 in their last 10 overall, I'm just gonna stay on the side. Now that Jared Allen double was interesting, but I figured it would have been juiced because he's been hitting that number. What number is that at? Because if it's a good price, I'll take that myself. Because the Bucks.
Let's see what it is here. I'll pop it up and keep rolling.
Okay, no, I was just gonna say the Bucks allow a double pretty much to every big man that they play. So, that is a good bet. But
minus 254.
yeah, see, that's what I thought. That's just too much. So now let me ask this question: what is his assist at? Jared Allen's assist, because he was at over 2.5, and he was hitting it like every game.
It's 3.5 juice to the under, minus 102 to the over.
Yeah, I figured that too. So we'll just stay off. I may want to jump on some later. I may tweet out Giannis's. He's had a triple-double 3 out of his last 4 games, and he can easily get another one tonight. But I don't want to make it official yet. I'll just confirm some more things later on, and if I jump on that, I'll tweet it out to you and tag you in it. But other than that, I'll just stay off this game. I'm on the sidelines.
Sky Dragon on Cleveland money line. Von Polo on Cleveland plus the point. Sammy Comer says Bucks cover previous game and the line opens shorter in the next game in the same gym. Says Cavs cover and are live to win.
Yep, I agree.
All right. So then line shopping for you on the first quarter here. Let's get this first quarter for you here for Orlando. We have minus 1.5. Minus 1.5. So I'm going to see it's minus 115. I wonder if I can beat it here at Pinnacle. Let me just try to do that for you on this magic spot. First quarter. And the minus 1.5 is minus 115. So it's the minus 115 everywhere. So that's what we will give you. Unless you would rather have the 2 at even money or minus 1.5, minus 115.
No, we do that. 115.
Okay, so minus 1.5, minus 115. Okay, you are locked in here. Let's move on to our next spot. It's an interesting situation here. I've not seen this tape, but with the success of both Biden and Trump yesterday, board sweepage for the two, another very interesting personality has wanted to deliver a best bet here on the show, and people are following suit. So I've not seen this tape. I can't wait to watch it. So without further ado, Oklahoma City Thunder, New Orleans Pelicans. Let's see what's in store.
Jimmy, it's me, Arnold Schwarzenegger, all the way from California. I'm so excited to be here. Listen, I want to pick a basketball game. The Thunder! Thunder! Yes, the Thunder, they are hot as fish grease right now, Jimmy. They're gonna tear through the Pelicans. They're gonna destroy Zion and his flabby fat ass. Go with the Thunder. I'm telling you, all the sharp bettors are on them right now. And if you want more picks like this, Jimmy, believe me, get to the chopper. I'll be back. Thunder!
Wow. All right. We have Arnold Schwarzenegger on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Plus 1.5 at minus 105 for Arnold. Joining us from California. Plus 1.5 at minus 105 for Arnold Schwarzenegger. Interesting. Well, that leads us in to the spot here, the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans, Louisiana. The Thunder coming off their 4th straight win, 140-114 at the Spurs on Wednesday, a game that meant something to Chet, and they delivered a 4-1 over the past 5, 99.90 possessions game. That's good for 9th fastest in the league. The Pelicans 3-2, 98.80 possession game, 14th. And this is the final game of a 4-game homestand for the Pelicans. They're coming off their second win in 3 games, 153-124 home over the Jazz on Tuesday. So they play at Milwaukee tomorrow night. So this is a touchy spot for them. Let's take a look at the line history here. This opened up at +2. It's now +1.5, a half-point move towards the Thunder. And then we'll get into the total for this spot. This total is at 240. 240 and a half now at Pinnacle. So it's gone up, but this got up to, oh no, sorry, it's dropped. No, it's back at 240. This was, I thought we saw, yes, it was at 241. It got to 241. It got to 242 at 9 this morning. That's what I thought I saw, 242. So now we're at 240 and a half, but still a half point move towards the over. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this Thunder spot. We have 48% of tickets and 92% of cash on the Thunder. I almost wish the line would move a little more towards them, but I guess, still more tickets are coming on the Pelicanos. Then you have 66% of tickets, 63% cash on the over. Take it away for us here. LJ, are you with Arnold on this one?
I don't know, Jen. This tough game right here. Tough game right here. Oklahoma City, number one in the West right now. They won 4 in a row, 8-2 overall in their last 10, 6-4 against the spread their last 10. And they're excellent on the road for the most part. 13-8-1 against the spread on the road, 7-3-1 against the spread as a road dog. So all those reasons is I'm leaning towards Oklahoma City for the most part, but the Pelicans, you just mentioned the last game over 4. This is their 4th straight home game. They're about to go on a road trip as well. So I don't know how they're going to respond in this game. Now, as far as matchups, I think the Pelicans can size up with the Oklahoma City, especially in the front court. Zion, Brandon Ingram, Valanciunas. I think they can bang down there with Holmgren in the bodies of Oklahoma City. They're pretty thin, and they don't have a lot of rim protection. So for that reason, I believe the Pelicans can score inside, but at the same time, can they hold off on the perimeter with Shea, and all those guys on the perimeter? Now, Herb Jones and Trey Murphy, they're great defenders as well. Probably could try to keep Shea in front of them. They're very long and lengthy wingspan. Plus, the Pelicans play defense too. Willie Green, they bought into being very defensive minded, but they're on a back to back. We just mentioned. Are they looking ahead to the Bucks? Possibly they are. So for that reason, I didn't come to a side. Now the Pelicans are the second best team in the first half at home. 16-6-1 against the spread in the first half. So I couldn't talk you off of that one. If anybody want to take those Pelicans first half, I'm not mad at you. But Oklahoma City could definitely come back in that second half and cover that spread and possibly win because they only have to win by a bucket. It's -2. So that's really close. And that could go either way. Both of them been scoring points. Pelicans scored 153 last game. OKC scored 140. So who knows, man? But I'm definitely going to be on 2 props in this game, Jimmy. Oklahoma City allows the most threes to the guard position. So we're going to go with CJ McCollum over 3.5 3-pointers plus 123 because he's hit this number 4 out of his last 5 home games. He shoots the ball a lot. And the fact that Oklahoma City would just let you stand right there on that 3-point line and take that shot, hey, CJ is going to be very welcome, welcome arms to take that. So I got CJ over 3.5 threes, and I'm going to take Jet Holmgren over 2.5 blocks plus 100 because he's one of the top leaders in blocks. And I didn't see Wembley's blocks earlier. If anybody in the chat can search for Wembley blocks when we go to Portland and the Spurs, because I'm going to want to parlay that with Chet. But right now, you could just write it as a single bet. Chet Holmgren over 2.5 blocks plus 100, and I'm on CJ McCollum over 3.5 threes plus 123.
Over 2.5 blocks at plus 100. We can give you those threes at plus 133 at Pinnacle. You made this bet last Friday at plus 137. And McCollum went 1 for 7 from 3 in that one.
That was against the Suns. I remember that.
Oh yeah, it's probably the hardest thing in sports gambling is when you have a 3-point prop and you watch brick and brick and brick. Like it's you have to get.
I think he bounces back tonight though, for the fact he had a horrible shooting night. That I think he bounces back and gets it tonight. Definitely.
Troy Torrance liking that. So Troy says Pelicans are going to smash. And when I hear Troy say that, I think that there's more to this than the spread information that I gave you. And so, I haven't even looked yet. So 48% of tickets, 92% cash on the spread on the Thunder. Let's go to the money line. Money line's 80% of the tickets and 77% of the cash on the Thunder. Let's see what. So, so is your thinking here? I'd like to see what's line movement on the money line. Is your thinking here that you would have expected the line to move more? Like, what is your bullishness other than X's and O's? And I know X's and O's are you think Pelicans can keep up. And sure, at a pick'em, Thunder Pelicans, you'd want the Pelicans to pick them at home. But I'd be very curious to hear why you are confident enough to go up against the market. And maybe the move you're just saying it's not that much. This opened OKC plus 112. It's now plus 104, 8 cents, and there's 80% of the cash. I would like to hear.
I want to mention something else too. If y'all are watching this game live and Oklahoma City is up on the Pelicans after the first quarter, you may want to jump on the Pelicans second quarter because they're 14-3 against the spread in the second quarter at home versus the Western Conference. And that's one of the reasons why they're covering that first half spread is because they come out in that second quarter and just, steamroll these teams. So be looking at that as well. If everybody in the chat is going to be watching this game live, that may be a nice live bet to bet the Pelicans second quarter.
And do the Pelicans care about playing in Milwaukee?
I don't know. Maybe not. Who knows?
Why would they care? Honestly,
you're right. Because this game is more important because it's a Western Conference opponent. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. But like I said, I just don't. Oklahoma City's good, man. They're number one in the West for a reason. So,
Director 97 says Stanford plus 3, 11-1 covering Niagara over 132, and Avalanche a moneyline 3-game parlay for Director 97. Director 97, you won back-to-back horse races. Some would think that was unbelievable, impossible. Have you been paid in full? Because you deserve to be. You're $150 richer because you're a gold member. Piker says Arnold has mentioned Zion's ass. Will Zion's ass be a factor? Most likely, Zion's ass will be a factor. I'm surprised Kyle Lowry's ass is not going to be a factor. I thought he was going to play tonight. Okay, we will move on. Okay, Director 97 has been paid in full here. Speaking of which, oh my God, the race is coming to a conclusion. The race is over. My God, Justin McKelvey won. I cannot believe it. I am so sorry. The race is over. When did this happen, Jose? Did it just happen seconds ago? Holy shit, Justin McKelvey.
Yeah, it just happened minutes ago.
Oh, my God. I'm so sorry. Justin McKelvey was our winner. Sorry, caught up in our fucking action here. Justin McKelvey, $50 richer. My God, I'm so sorry that I didn't call that out for all the excitement that brings. Okay, I got to make sure that doesn't happen again. Let's take a look at the try here. Justin McKelvey, our winner. Must have had late pace, Justin. Kent Davies in second. That's going to drive him crazy. Is there a way we could get a replay of this race, of this final, Jose? Is there any way we can do that?
No, I don't think so.
Can't get back? Can't review? Damn it.
No.
Damn it.
No.
Can't rewind on that one.
Justin.
Crystal Craig in third. Look at that. Okay, Kent's irate right now. It's better hearing it this way. If you would have saw your horse buckle and Justin blow past you, then you'd be even angrier. Wow. My apologies. That's sorry. I know that we're doing real business here, but this is real business. $50 richer for Justin McKelvey. Respect, Justin. If you could email us at pubsportsradio@gmail.com. Justin McKelvey, $50. Kent Davis just threw his program on the floor. He was watching on the simulcast. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, apologies. Okay, so we have LJ on McCollum over 3.5 threes, a Holmgren over 2.5 blocks, and Arnold on the Thunder plus 1.5 and minus 105. And I guess I'm off of the spot here. I thought I was going to be on the Thunder. Let's talk about the final spot here on our board, the final spot on the show. And I apologize for being too caught up in our action. The voice of God, Jose, you can come in anytime and tell us that we're only in the final minute. That was my bad. 9:30 p.m. Eastern, Portland Trailblazers 13-31. 6-19 on the road at San Antonio Spurs, 8-36, 3-17 at home at Frostbank Center in San Antonio, Texas. Portland 3-2 over the past 5, 23rd fastest pace, 97.67 possessions a game. I have bet the Trailblazers over the last few weeks. They lost by 62. The Spurs 1-4 playing at the pace, 100.80 possessions a game there, and I only had them in the first quarter. By the way, they were up 7-2 in that first quarter. Not that it matters. Not that it matters. I even doubled on that. I even had their team total over. That's just That's about as bad of a loss as possible in the sports gambling world.
You talking about when they scored 77 points? You had
Yes,
their
I am.
team total.
Yes, I am. I had their team total over 111. Only lost out by 40. Okay.
Oh,
The Spurs minus 3.5 and minus 106. Frost Bank Center. For those of you coming to Pubapalooza, our Jeff Slaughter working on getting us a box for this game, which would get me to the game. Would get me to the game. Working on getting us a box. Opening up at minus 2.5, now minus 3.5. We have a 1 point move towards the San Antonio Spurs. When we get to the total for this spot here, we're dealing with a 230. We're dealing with a 230. This opened up at 232, and it got up to 233 before it dropped down to 230. From a cash flow standpoint, let's get back to all markets. We have 55% of the tickets and 96% of cash on the Spurs. A lot of money on the Spurs. Has moved a point in their favor. 31% of tickets, 60% cash on the under, and it's moved in that direction. So here we go. Blazers have their two-game losing streak snapped in a 137-131 overtime victory at the Rockets on Wednesday. Their third game in 4 nights. The Spurs coming off that second straight loss, 140-114 at home versus the Thunder on Wednesday. They've been sitting at home. Does this not set up perfectly for the San Antonio Spurs?
Yep.
Take it away, LJ. Did you move on them?
No, because it's the Spurs. I can't do it. These are the 2 worst teams in the Western Conference, man. Portland, we already know their ass, especially in the first quarter. 2-8 against the spread in the first quarter, last 10 games on the road, man. They're 1-16 on the road overall versus the West. And the only game that they won was, we already know, the last one versus the Rockets. So other than that, I have no interest in trying to find any money with Portland. I've been fading Portland the whole season. I've been very, very profitable doing that, especially early. Now, the Spurs, I mean, this should be a Spurs spot. I mean, it's all working in their favor. They're favored. And this is probably the last time that we're going to see the San Antonio Spurs as a favorite. They're at home, 2-0 as a home favorite, 3-0 as a favorite overall against the spread. So, hey, if y'all want to try y'all luck tonight and take the last time that the Spurs are a favorite, because they should win this game. They should win by more than 3 points. But, hey, I'm not taking that chance because it's the Spurs. Now, Wembley, if he plays, I'm taking Wembley's blocks. I'm going to parlay it with Chet, but I did see it earlier. If y'all see it right now, if they have Wembley's props up, I don't know because I didn't see it. So if y'all have it, you know that we can find some money with Wembley. But other than that, no action in this game.
He just says if you bet the game, call 1-800. I do not feel that way at all. I mean, these are the bum fights that I think we have value in. Wemby's not listed on any kind of issue. So I'll give you Wemby props. They got to be here. I've got them all here. Double minus 206 points at 23.5 points, rebounds and assists at 38.5, rebounds at 10.5, and they don't drop blocks at Pinnacle. So.
That's because they know he's going to get it. Portland allows the most blocks in the NBA, so he's definitely going to hit it. So maybe I can find it later. I'll tweet it out because if I find a block prop for Wembley, I'm taking it.
Oh, they're everywhere. Pinnacle doesn't give out blocks.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, do you have it anywhere else?
Sure. You might be able to find a better line than here because I'll just go to 365.
Okay.
But you're damn right, Kelly. The lipstick's coming out. I don't see. I think this is a great spot for the Spurs. Larry Sears thinking that this is a great spot for the over. Let's see the player prop here for Wemby blocks. We have player blocks, and Wemby's is over 2.5 minus 160.
What's 3.5?
They're not giving you that option.
Okay. Okay. Well, look, we'll figure something out later. I'll tag you in it because once I find something good, I'll tag you in it. So I'm definitely going to be on it, but we don't have to block anything right now for sure.
All right. Ron Crawford says Spurs undefeated 2-0 as a home favorite.
Yep, they are. Yeah. And like I said, this is probably the last time that they're going to be a favorite. So.
Okay. It is time for our friend Chang Kim, who works his ass off, works his ass off, and he's working right now, I'm sure. And so he's taking it. He wants to know, he's got $200 to put on action. He wants to put a parlay on our best bets. And because it's going to be a parlay, I'm going to give him a juiced spot. It's not too juiced. My section of this will be the Seattle Kraken money line. Seattle Kraken money line will be my half of the Friday SGP. It's Friday parlay for our guy Chang Kim. What is your spot for Chang?
Magic money line.
So the parlay from us is a Kraken Magic, and let's see what that would be right now at Pinnacle. If you put those two together, we already have a Magic in there, so pull this off and then get over to hockey and the Kraken. So that is a plus 131 money line parlay for our guy Chang. A spreadsheet play of the day from Ron Crawford is Seattle as well. So plus 131. There we go. And a Kraken Magic Spurs money line parlay for Piker. So there you go. Let's review all action here on NBA. We have did this move? Tell me it didn't move. I bet you it moved. Let's just see. Did they move the total? We knew Kyrie was going to be out. Moved a half point with Kyrie out. Half point. 244 and a half, 244. They knew he was going to be out. I'm going to be on the under in Mavericks Hawks. And then when Trae Young's announced out, I'll be on the Hawks. If he's announced in, I'll probably stay off or look for the Mavs. Then I'm going to be on the Hornets. And we have LJ on Sengun over 39.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Then LJ is on KD over 28.5 points and Beal over 19.5 points. And he has a Suns Magic parlay at plus 123. Then I'm going to be on the Raptors. I'm not going to bet it after the show. I'm going to wait, see if I get another half point. And then LJ's on the Magic first quarter -1.5, full game -6. I'm going to double up with him. He's also on the under 213 and BJ's best bet Magic -5. And then Lamont Williams gave us a Jared Allen double-double. We stayed off that spot, Cleveland, Milwaukee, but Dennis Garcia on Cleveland money line. Then Arnold Schwarzenegger gave us the Thunder plus 1.5. LJ's on McCollum over 3.5 threes and Holmgren over 2.5 blocks. Then I'm going to be on the Spurs to close out the card. Justin McKelvey, I'm so sorry I didn't call the end of that horse race. You'd think a 2-hour horse race I'd be paying attention to it, but congratulations on winning it. I'll do a better job as we move forward, and I apologize for that. LJ, let's heat up, my man. Love capping with you. LJ, can you be on one of our Sunday live streams? I know you're busy on Sundays. We have the conference finals. Can you be on either of them?
What time the first one start? Kansas City and the Ravens.
Our stream starts at 2:30. It's 1:30 your time.
I could do that one.
Okay, beautiful. So I got LJ here, and I'm going to be doing the records right now after the show ends for NFL Pub Hub. There was a huge winning days for a couple of our cappers, so we'll see where it lies. LJ is going to be on the big one. Well, they're both huge, but Ravens, Chiefs. I mean, I don't know if I've been so excited about a football game in a long time. Kelly McInnes, Wisconsin -3, Cal -2.5, Phoenix -4.5, Clippers -7.5, Milwaukee -5.5, and he is parlaying that. Atlanta now a pick'em at Westgate. Now a pick'em at Westgate, says our guy Coin. Coin hopefully you got in touch with Jose so we can send you cash right now. That is our show for today. LJ, thank you for rocking with us, my man. Go out there and get that cash, and thank you for all your hard work. Any last word? Oh, please follow our guy LJ on X at LJ Sports Media, and you can roll with him in San Antonio for Pubapalooza 3. LJ, any last words for the Capper supporting the show?
No, man. Everybody have a great weekend. Let's get some money. Enjoy these conference finals. This NBA got some hockey going as well. So a lot of opportunities for us to get some cash this weekend. So let's get to it. And like I always say, Jimmy, I will see you next week. And definitely less cash.
Let's get that cash. Our guy LJ in the house. So let's review all action here on today's show. We also got Razor Sharp Picks full golf stream card. Thank you, Razor, for sharing that with us. Let's pop this in the chat for anybody looking for a little added action today. And let's review action. Bobano's on the draw in Vegas Rangers. He's on the Panthers team total over 3.5. I'm on the Kings first period at plus 115. So is Bobano. He's also on the over 6 in that game. I'm on the Kraken -1. He's on the Kraken team total over 3.5 and the draw in that one. Joe Thompson, Joe T gave us his full card. Iona Siena over 138, Maris Niagara over 132, Utah Valley over 137.5, and Wisconsin -2.5. Best model play. Bobano's on Arkansas State, Louisiana over 154.5. He's on the over 146.5 in Kent State, Ohio. I'm on Ohio in that one. Bobano's on Niagara in the over 131.5. Jay Smooth balls play today. Maris Niagara over 132.5. Iona Siena stay off. Manhattan +8.5 for Bobano. Jose, my man, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Michigan State +3. I'm on, but I'd like to get the 3.5. I'll see if I can get that. Bobano's on Michigan +3.5. But Perky on Wisconsin money line for a huge bet. Justin McKelvey stacks play today is Michigan State. Bobano's on St. Bonaventure money line -140 and the over 142.5. I have interest in St. Joe's. I'm going to take one last look at them and make sure I have enough conviction to go up against Bobano. Then Robert Franklin gave us the over 137.5 in Utah, Seattle. Bobano's on Cal money line and the over 151.5. Coach Minton gave us the over 152.5 in Stanford, Cal. St. Joe's +2.5 and Niagara -2.5. And that is our action for today. Jose, do you have action? Is there something that you've tailed and ran with?
Yeah, I'm 0-3 this week, so good job by me. However, good thing. I put in a parlay with my bookie, my local. I woke up. I saw that Djokovic lost, but the parlay magically disappeared off my account, so didn't have to pay it. So we're good, baby. We're good. That's great. But I'm on Ohio +3. So shout out to Troy. Shout out to you. We're on it together. And shout out to Justin. Sorry, I also missed the end of the horse race as well. I didn't notice it was going off. I was too busy listening, I guess. So
I wasn't. There's so much money to be made. That's the first time we've done that. We won't let that happen again. I felt terrible. I looked down and I saw Justin McKelvey's arms in the air and I was like, oh no, that would have been great.
Yeah. Hey, well, Justin, guess what? If your stacks doesn't hit, you already won today. So shout out to you there, Justin. But
no, he makes big boy bets, man. $50 is nice, but it's not. He needs stacks. He needs it to hit bad. We all do.
And shout out to our guest yesterday. 2 for 2 for the presidential candidates, and
yeah,
maybe we'll go 3 for 3 with Arnold.
See if Arnold can follow that. We got Brizzy best bet here in the house. Brizzy coming in, his best bet, the Ragin' Cajuns. -3.5 for the Ragin' Cajuns. Philly Eagle Flyer also on Frankfurt and the under 2.5. And Kent Davies also joined us with Ohio. And those are the spreadsheet plays from Ronnie Crawford back in business with us. I love it.
We better see Piker at Publipalooza this year. God damn it.
He's a busy man.
I need to see Piker at Publipalooza 3.
Oh, he'd be so much fun, man. He's money in the bank. Money in the bank.
It's gonna be fun, and hopefully Pete changes his flight, because you should have seen his face of, wait, it was on Easter's, right? It was on, and then I was like, oh well, we did it for like a week, and then it was great. But Pete will hopefully be there, womaned up, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, I hope he's got to be there.
Yeah, he'll be there. He'll be there.
Okay.
Fine, we'll find a way. It is quite funny though that Mike said you're bringing sand to the beach. Shout out to Mike there.
Michael X asking Hornets winning. I don't need them to win. I just want them to cover 5.5, and that's all. It's tough to back a team like the Hornets, but I'm going to do that. Jose, that is the week here, and we have an enormous Sunday. I mean, as big as it gets here. We'll be live.
I've officially locked in my confidence picks.
So have I.
Yeah, I'm officially on both favorites, and I'm using both of my big points on them as well, I think.
And you are right. You aren't in first.
No, I'm in second, yeah. Well, again, I don't know what the points thing is.
Do you know who is in first?
Is it like, are you talking normal standings first?
No, the normal standings aren't important.
I don't.
It is Preston Ekdahl.
Yeah. That's not surprising. Preston, I'm pretty sure Preston's on both of the same things I am too. So
Preston Ekdahl is in first. You are in second, and I'm in third. That is the situation right now. I was shocked. I thought you were in first, and then I went through everybody's action from the 2 weeks. I went through, and I was like, "Oh my God, Preston is first." So
yeah, it's funny. We're all gonna have the same picks probably too. I mean, you're gonna be on the favorites. I'm gonna be on the favorites. I know Preston's gonna be on the favorites. So.
It doesn't matter. What matters is the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's
That
gonna, it's
will
gonna
that
be
will
important. That's
determine.
gonna be important. I have gone back and forth though on flipping the Niners from 9 to 5 because I might be the only. I think I'm the only person that thinks that the Lions can give these guys a fucking game. But
What do you mean? You talking? You see, Big Show is
well, yeah, of
this is
course, Big
the
Show. We
Big
know
Show
why.
year. It's the year of Big Show, man.
Yeah, it is the year of Big Show. Has Kid, Michigan, Detroit. I mean, this is the year of Big Show. You're right about that. But yeah, I've gone back and forth. I think the Lions will actually give them a game, but I will probably stick with them being the 2 high point totals, and then hope to God I'm on the opposite of you guys on the Super Bowl.
That's what it'll all come down to the Super Bowl, I imagine. But we'll see. I'm sure some people are going to realize if I take the Chiefs, I can have the lead. The thing is that you won't win. It all depends on the Super Bowl because it looks like if it is Ravens 49ers, if it is, there'll be people on either side. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I think I'll be on the 49ers.
Well.
And I think you'll probably be on the 49ers too.
I don't know if I will. I don't know. I certainly the reason why they're not the favorite is just because the Chiefs are a tougher opposition than the Lions. The market's saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the market is saying that, and I'm very interested to see what the Ravens do to the Chiefs. I think they're going to comfortably beat them.
Yeah, I have my best friend's a Chiefs fan, and I've been telling him like I feel sorry for you, man, because they're gonna get their ass whooped. Because I'm sure you saw they're up to 4 now, right?
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah. That was the one where I was like, oh, that. When I saw that, that's when I put my confidence. I have 9, 5, and 8 left, and I used my 8 there instead of using 5 like I should have been. So yeah, I do think this might be an ass whooping, belt to ass, boots.
I can't wait. I can't wait. And there's going to be so much bet on our live stream. So, got SGPs for both games, and then we'll be live betting and crazy. It's going to be fun. So I'm excited. I'm very, very excited about Sunday. We got to roll, though. We got to roll. I've got to get action in here. We got to get the goods in. So thank you guys so much for rocking with us this week. And there's a lot of money to make, and we need to make it. Shout out to Chain Kim. I hope that Kraken Magic parlay gets home for you. Shout out to Justin McKelvey. He's such a great capper to have rolling with us with the Stacks Play today, every day. The winner of our horse race today.
Email us.
Yeah, my man.
Yes, email us, Justin.
Oh, yeah. Email us.
@gmail.com.
And Coin has emailed us. Let us know what's
I don't know. I haven't looked. But Coin, email us or DM us, whichever one. We'll get it to you somehow, Coin.
Philly Eagle Flyer, Justin McKelvey, North Ender, Ian Shaber, Ron Crawford, Mike Piker, Billy Briz, Subhuman Gaucho, Coin, Tori Coker, Michael X, Subhuman Gaucho with his action here. I love it.
By the way,
yeah.
So are you gonna bet the NBA total?
The under has gone down again?
I don't know. I just know that at one point you said no more NBA totals.
I did say 1 a week, but I have said that when I did 2 last Friday, I lost both.
You just 1 a week?
Yeah.
You get your pack of Newport Golds or whatever you smoked.
Yeah. Okay. Good shot. Show me DM. Thank you, Coin. We'll get you that cash here today, my friend. I'll send it right after the show. Yeah. I got to get my bets in because I got to get Ella in like 22 minutes.
We need a cattle prod. It was the whole thing. I was gonna say we need a cattle prod. I'm not betting -1s anymore, and it might be after tonight. No more totals for you, but we'll see. So shout out to you. Get your action and all that good stuff.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you all for watching and supporting us. Jose, will you bless our action and take us into the future?
Shout out to Justin. I'm sure the horse race is electric. We just didn't see it, but it was a great time nonetheless. Justin, $50 richer. Hope all is well in your land now, my man. Coin, Philly Eagle Flyer, my guy Piker. Oh, look at this! If I make it to Publipalooza, I'll rip Newports with you. I will also. I'll get a pack of Newport Golds. Jimmy, you'll be in it. You'll have your first cigarette in ages.
I can't.
It'll be great.
I'll start a pack a day immediately. I can't.
I know. It's almost like we have addictive personalities. And by the way, congratulations on working out. I paid $100 and some to have a gym membership, and I've been once this month. So good job by me there. So shout out to everyone. Appreciate you all. Let's fucking milk these motherfuckers one time. Come on, Ohio. Legend.